Well, I think we are live on everything. So, if you are not watching this live and you want to just get right into the topics of the day, feel free to start tapping that fast forward 30 seconds button. If you are live and you want a little bit of housekeeping, Dadvocate updates, the regular welcome to the show notes, and a little bit of pet tax, feel free to just stay and chill. Chill like Mochi's chilling. Though I don't know if anybody can even dream of actually being this chill. I mean, look at this heckin' Chonkerton. Look at this dang bread loaf. I don't often ask this of you guys, but that needs to be clipped. That was just a peek. I am done with you moment. Are you guys already gifting memberships? Oh my goodness. Who's gone and done this? Thank you, Phil. GG to Phil. Yes, with your new membership, you do have access to a couple early access videos that have not been released yet. I do intend to film a bunch this week, so hopefully you will get access to even more. Feel free to... It's already begun. I've tar and feathered myself as usual with Mochi. Always worth it. Speaking of, yeah, feel free to use your Mochi and other pet emotes that are available to you with your new membership. Go check the community tab for all past members only live streams, including the Dadvocate origin story that you now have access to. And also check the community posts because I regularly send Discord invites so you can get on into our Discord. And then if you are not gifted a membership, then, consider joining or just stick around in the live. You never know when the wonderful audience of the Dadvocate gang will start tossing out memberships. Aw, thank you so much. And if you are brand new here, welcome or welcome back to the Dadvocate stream. I am your host, as always, Lauren. This is a place where you should be able to enjoy the stream a lot like a podcast. We try to keep it audio only friendly around here so that even though we do react to visual cues, I will do my best to verbally describe them. Every once in a while, my husband randomly comes in the middle of me doing my introduction and we get TJ tags. Every once in a while he does, but then walks away, so you actually don't get TJ tags.
I just wanted to let you know I was here. I'm still really trying to avoid that.
Me when I finally get my spiel right. But what we usually talk about on this stream are typically things in the realm of relationships, dating, men versus women, bridging the gaps on things we fight about through humor. We talk about parenting, co-parenting, breakups, divorce, and all kinds of other buffoonery and bungholery in between. Like I said, this is live, so if you are watching live, feel free to interact with the chat. The best way to get my attention is through YouTube Super Chats, just because they do a great job of itemizing everything. So even if I can't get to it right away, when I pause in the middle of my story, thought, whatever, I can usually go back and catch them all. Sometimes I don't, though. Sometimes my mods yell at me, so it's not a 100% hit rate, but I try really hard. And yes, this is a multicast, actually not just between YouTube and Twitch, but I also included the Facebook gang. I actually have access to stream this to TikTok, but I've heard it doesn't typically go very well. But yeah, I thank you to Restream for powering the ability to get me across to everybody, but most importantly, thank you to you guys for showing up, and especially to you guys who have already hit the like button on the stream. I'm not going to ask you to look up and stare at the stream too often if you want to be able to enjoy this while walking the dog or driving or lifting weights at the gym, but I will ask you to at least pick up your phone to really quick hit like on the stream because it super helps out my channel. That's how you sponsor us for free. It is the freest way to support us. So Oh no, that's very sad. SDR said Caleb Hammer, one of my favorite YouTubers, runs the channel Financial Audit, and I'm a financial nerd, so I love his show. If you don't know what that show is, basically he runs a channel where he will create for you a free budget plan to help you get out of debt, but in return you have to sit there for an hour and get verbally berated for all of your terrible financial decisions. Honestly, pretty great content, but it's up there with like bad tattoos. Is that a fair comparison? Where like it's really entertaining to watch for a few episodes, but then after a while, like just gets depressing and kind of infuriating and like more depressing. But I can definitely see him getting banned. I try to stay pretty appropriate across every platform. I usually censor my cusses and my words, but every once in a while, like if I'm really heated, if you got me going, I might drop an actual couple cuss bombs. But yeah, even though we do discuss some pretty mature content, I try to talk about it in a way that's like, you're not gonna like cringe because there's so many F-bombs, if that makes sense. Yeah, TikTok has been rough lately. They literally, you can't even say the word stupid. I even tried to get around it by like having the D in there be a second T in my pronunciation. But no, they were like, that's bullying. Oh man. And hey chat, good morning. But anyway, I think I caught up on thanking everybody, specifically Phil. That's funny. As you send another one, you can count on me to yell at you, boss. Thank you. Thank you. Someone needs to. And then, before we get into today's theme of the stream, which is, are women lonelier than men? I do want to do a quick PSA. Good chance, but not 100% chance that I'm going to cancel Wednesday's live. I've been having some trouble adapting to my new epilepsy meds. I think I've discussed this with you guys. There have been a few days where like I've come on the stream like 15 minutes late because I'm, super nauseous, or like even today, I had a lip numbness, which is a side effect. But one of them, which I'm only kind of recently starting to realize is the biggest thing they tried to warn me about, is like crying nonstop for weeks. It seems, which is like super unlike me. I never cry, ever. Super strange, but just like constant crying. And I was even up last night, like Googling it. And then at one point, because I started to like feel nauseous, I made the link of like, oh, dude, your neurologist literally told you to be on the lookout for like depression or ideations. And I literally said to this man, oh, I'll tell you about that right away because that's super unusual for me. So I'll know right away. But then like when you're in the thick of it, you don't think about those conversations. You're just like in this pit of hopelessness and despair that has just like come over you, like sadness from inside out. And then I like started to like spiral even further as I started to read all of these articles. People don't warn you. They do a good job of like with postpartum depression. Like every woman now gets sent home with a pamphlet of like, there's a good chance this could make you depressed. But like no one tells you, like if you Google the statistics, the risk of unaliving for people with people with epilepsy is up so much higher within their first 6 months of diagnosis. And it's for so many reasons. You're on this new medication that completely changes your brain chemistry. You're dealing with like a life-changing diagnosis, especially for people who like are hyper independent. Not that I know anything about that. When you experience something like completely losing control over your body and never knowing when it's going to happen again, That's a lot to contend with. Like the last time I think I ever experienced anything like depression, and thank God, knock on wood, that this is not a regularly occurring thing for me, and that I have the logical objectiveness to look back and be like, golly, Lauren, you sure are crying a lot. Maybe you should like talk to a doctor. Like at least I can think that way. Not everybody can. Not everybody can get out of that stuckness. But the last time was when I got hit by a car and I couldn't use my legs. And I was like, the same thing for a hyper independent person. That's very difficult to contend with. There's a lot going on in those moments. And the studies that I was reading, the comorbidities and the risk factor goes up insane amounts. Like 12 times more if you have anxiety, 22 times more if you have mood disorders. But like, they don't really say much. They don't really give you too many resources when they send you away. They're like, well, you're epileptic now. Go on these meds. Let us know if you feel super depressed. And you're like, okay, you betcha. But like, what else do you do with that? Like, when it's the middle of the night and you've just been like sobbing for hours, like you can't just call your doctor. You know what I mean? And so it's very, I don't know even what to like say about that, but it's just, I get it. I get what a lot of you guys are going through for a lot of different medical stuff. And so you're like, I'm not like super proud to admit these things. You can see me like literally fighting, having any emotion and like being pridefully stoic about this. But like at the same time, I would really like to advocate for like, just doing something, like not just being like, I don't want to be a bother, like, oh golly, like, but that's gonna cost the family money, and like, we can't afford me to be lollygagging over something silly like being sad. Like, no, you're allowed to like actually go talk to somebody and be like, hey, so like I'm having these thoughts. Like, they're not immediately going to strap you with the grippy socks. Like, you can explore these things in a way that is not going to like immediately ruin your whole life. I promise you, it is what I intend to do, so that I'm not marinating in hopelessness and despair, and that if I need to, I can get a change of medication. And I'm also lucky too, in a weird way, that I did grow up with an epileptic dad, because like I saw what he went through. Like, it took him years and years to get on the right medication. It's like, it's very similar to ADHD and depression in a lot of ways, because it's all brain chemistry stuff. And you guys know me, as in addition to advocating for fathers and equal shared parenting and healthy relationships and bridging the gaps between men and women, I'm also a huge advocate for the neurospicy brain. And that involves, understanding that it's gonna take some time to get it right. You're gonna be throwing some shit at the wall, and it's gonna take a while before things really stick. Okay? And like, if you do go into like subreddits and things like I did, looking into like, dude, is anybody else going through this shit? Like, yeah. Yeah, I promise you they are. They really are. And like, everyone's gonna tell you the same thing. Like, you have to have a support system. You have to build your community. And like, thank God for you guys that you let me yap for 7 minutes before I'm supposed to get into the theme of the stream about this. But as an advocate for mental health, good odds I might take Wednesday off, but also, I also like get through things a lot better when I'm working, so I might just be in the headspace of like, I would rather just hang out with you guys than sit around in my own brain alone, Let me read the super chat from Lacey. Thank you so much for the generous 5. It says, please be kind to yourself, queen. Queen. We always make fun of the women who call themselves queen on here, so I have to make fun of myself now. We are here because we enjoy your content, but you have to put yourself first. We are not going anywhere, promise. You guys are very kind. I appreciate it. But I love making content for you guys, and I have a lot to yap about. So I'm not going anywhere either. But I have to warn you guys if I'm like, just in case. So, okay. With all of that done and out of the way, my fellow neurospicy or non-neurospicy audience, let's get right into today's theme of the stream. We know that there is a male loneliness epidemic, or if we've at least heard about it to death. Everybody is talking about this alleged male loneliness epidemic, and what's interesting is that usually when people are talking about an epidemic, they're talking about something that is serious, severe, requires attention, is causing harm. This one, though, is mostly just used as another weapon, another jab, another I told you so to the male species. Hello, Miles. Or some are of the opinion, as TJ just said, I believe he just said, or it's just social Darwinism doing its job. The ironic part about that quote, though, is as we dive deeper into this, will that survive the gender swap as we explore the possibility that the female loneliness epidemic is actually possibly just as bad, if not worse. We will dive into this through social media videos such as TikTok, Instagram, the usual way in which these terms are disseminated, and we will dive into it with scientific data and studies that are being performed over the last decade or so as far as male and female loneliness. So we'll get straight from the original sauce, the pasta sauce of the women themselves, and then we'll go into a few other broader studies, researches, self-reported data, and get a little bit more into this. Are these loneliness epidemics self-caused? Something that either men or women are doing wrong to self-destruct and pull themselves further away from society through antisocial behavior? Or is it the other gender's fault? They're doing it, and it's their job to fix it. My husband is standing in the doorway doing this.
There's only a certain type of male that is really being afflicted with the male loneliness epidemic. And there's good reason for it, in my personal opinion. It's just you only hear a certain demographic really complaining about this, and other demographics are not really complaining about this quote-unquote affliction. And a lot of it has to do with respecting women as equals and as human beings. As it would turn out,
isn't it always fun to watch me and TJ engage in discourse? Just because, like, he'll have a strong, and what's so funny is, like, truly TJ is the momvocate, but without the entire channel. Like, TJ is the quickest to take, like, the woman-centered, woman-favoring approach, which me as his wife, I'm not gonna argue with that. You know what I mean? Just like you fellas, I'm sure you don't mind, me taking your side into consideration. But it's always interesting because, part of my job is seeing both sides, but like a TJ is like, my job, it's women. So it's always interesting.
I'm just saying, it's like whenever I've seen people try to bring up nuance, it's like, well, I'm part of the male loneliness epidemic. And then it's like you go like 3 videos into their feed and they're like, I think the 19th Amendment is bullshit. It's like, you know what? I think we might have found a clue. A clue! Oh! Like, we found a clue.
A mousecatool.
Yeah, a mousecatool.
So what's really interesting about you bringing this up, and I know that you probably don't have time to stick around. I'm imagining you're lunch.
No, I started 1. I was going to try and go to Tardy's to see if they
you just left early? Or did you think you started earlier? I've done that a million times. Oh
And I
yeah,
had to pick up my
TJ was just
medication,
saving
too.
lives. I forgot that he was donating plasma.
And I had to pick up medication for my adhood.
Nice.
I've been a busy boy this morning.
Yes. Okay, well, I was just about to say, in reference to your point, that likely a lot of the men experiencing loneliness from women may have predetermined biases against women. I actually was going to play a fun little game with you guys featuring a series of videos of women talking about a very common trope. You may or may not believe this, but if you Google or search "where are men," there are countless, like almost infinity videos of women going, "Where are all the good men?" And it's what's interesting. Like, I didn't realize there were so many. When I searched this, I actually was very surprised to find so many, because I always thought that, like, whenever people made videos responding to these, it was like the outlier, like the very rare video of like a woman like admitting that it's actually like she's having a hard time and she wants a man, because like typically this is seen as like an L from other women of like, ew, you want one of those things? Disgusting. So typically we won't like admit that we want one, but in the rare situation they did, I always thought that like that was rare. But there's a ton. So I will say, as I started watching them, because I wanted to learn a little bit more about like where these women's complaints are coming from, I realized that you can play a game called "How Far Do We Get in the Video?" of a woman asking where she finds a good man before she reveals that she actually hates men. I'm realizing that there are a lot of parallels, okay? And I think a lot of it has to do with self-fulfilling prophecies, predetermined biases, fears, internal traumas, projections. And a lot of that we have to empathetically understand is partially valid. A lot of these people have been hurt, have been beat to emotionally, and they've got their walls up. Okay, I'm sure a lot of us have been there, and a lot of us are like, yeah, I have my guard up. And understandably, I am not letting anybody get that close to tearing out my heart and eating it like Daenerys ever again. Okay, so part of it is understandable. And then part of it is, as you're watching this kind of stuff, you're like, well, why do you think that men will want to stick around dating you if it appears that you hate them all? Let me read some of your other super chats before we get into this game, this challenge. Okay, sorry I'm reading this so late, but Duskshine749 says, "It's my birthday. Happy birthday. I'm camping with my wife in a cabin, so glamping. You can say it. You can say it. And I'm celebrating by giving you money. Have a good stream. I'll check the VOD later." Thank you. Very kind. Whatever you do end up watching my response to this. Enjoy your cabin in the woods, which is spooky now that I'm thinking about our Halloween season. Phil, thank you for another dono. I'll accept the blame on behalf of all men. Very kind of you. Thank you, you know? But unfortunately, it's not enough for just one of you to fall on the sword. It's gonna have to be every single one of you is gonna have to wear the mantle of all evil men's sins. Sorry, that's just feminism, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Don't. Some people are going to be like, she said it, see? It's true. She said it. She's being facetious, chat. She's being facetious.
That's fifth wave feminism, specifically. Or whatever wave we're on now. I actually don't know. We might be past that edition.
I think we're actually on fifth.
Are we on ninth season now? Shadow God, good to see you, says, actually a lot of it has to do with Josie the Tiger Fish. Oh, you actually... I'll always bring it up now. It has to do with friendship, not women. We'll get into that. There are many factors, including the rise of social media, that affect it. Not a great take. Wait, like for me or what take?
No, I'm sure the one that I'm saying, but it's so weird because I grew up all throughout social media, and this only started to seem to be a rising problem with the rise of red pill content. Is that causation and correlation? I don't know, but that sure seems to be the rise with red pill content. I noticed a rise in just the quote unquote male loneliness epidemic, and it's a 2 + 2 = 4 sort of thing to me.
Ooh, okay. So this is just a quick AI overview, and I guess my Google search was probably a bit biased, but I searched, is there a correlation between the rise of red pill content and male loneliness? AI overview says research suggests there is a strong correlation between the rise of red pill content and men's loneliness, though the relationship is complex. While some men are drawn to this content because they're already lonely and looking for answers, the ideology itself can exacerbate and reinforce their isolation. Fair, valid, honestly. That was a pretty fair overview, actually. I'm not mad about that one.
Oh, that was a really good AI overview. It actually did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, okay. A win for AI for once, but not for all. Shadow God also says, I'm not going to say there are no people like that, of course, but for a lot of people it isn't about that, nor solely about that. Reduction is dismissal. Right, so many factors too. I think, yeah, social media technology has a lot to do with it. We'll see some of these responses from people, but what triggered me even wanting to cover this topic was this video in particular. Which my note to self for this, I always tell you guys whenever I have like a note for a video I want to cover, I just write a quick note to myself. And the note that I wrote to myself was, horny woman is mad that men aren't acting right. You we'll see what I mean.
Of the men that have been screaming male loneliness epidemic have also not realized there's a female horniness epidemic, and if you just fucking act right, we can also be having fucking sex. We can also be having fucking sex and happy, but no, you guys want to be fucking dipshits. Fuck! You're making me upset! Of the men that have been...
I mean, that's just a cartoonish version of what I think I was trying to get across. It's like, obviously she's being facetious, but she's right. It's like, if y'all just stopped acting brand new, it's like we could all be fucking. Like, this could be us, but y'all acting this way.
Yeah, I guess this is definitely like a more screechy version of this could be us, but you playing.
Yeah.
And the caption, I have to let you know, reads, I'm ovulating and really struggling.
That's hilarious.
With 4 crying emojis.
That's really fucking funny.
So yes, there is a lot going on here. I think that like the intended audience, which is actually the girlies, like I don't think she actually really meant this to hit the men's timeline, seemed to have gone over as intended. This seemed to have gotten like a lot of enjoyment from the girly pops. Like if we open up the comment section, she's getting a lot of approval. If you act right is the key phrase here. The male loneliness epidemic is a skill issue. And then this is a more political one, but they're basically saying like, if you vote against your autonomy and think you ought to be confined to the house, why won't you be with me? Unfortunately, I'm a Tylenol American.
Oh, yeah.
That's the funniest new way of saying autistic that has been developed this year. So I have the social skills of a goldfish cracker. Also, pretty women intimidate me. Shout out Will. So yes, there's a lot I would say. This can definitely be taken 2 different ways. On one hand, I think that the girlies are listening to this and they're like, yeah, we all actually do want to be with a good man. It's just that like you're very hard to come by. Most of you are not, seeming to be like the thing here. But on the flip side of this coin, you could also see this as like, you know, if this is how you approach men, just screeching criticism.
Right, Shadow God, I hope that super chat of you saying that I know you are not being so obtuse.
This one,
Yeah,
okay, I haven't
know you
fully
are
read
not
this one.
being so
Shadow God says, before you respond, just because I have audio only crew, they can't read it. Shadow God says in a super chat, I barely see my friends anymore. They moved away and they have lives that keep them busy. Yeah, everybody in our 30s, honestly. And I don't get to spend time with most people. I'm alone.
I'm gonna say,
yeah, it takes effort.
Yeah, dude, you cannot be so obtuse to be like, well, my friends can't hang out with me. That's the male loneliness epidemic. I know you're not being that's ignorance by choice. To be like, well, I'm lonely because I don't get to see my friends. That's the male loneliness.
Well, I think all he's trying to say is like,
no.
It's not that he's lonely because he has like misogynistic views toward women. It's that for a lot of people, loneliness develops, especially later in life, due to organic factors like everybody moving away.
What I'm saying is, though,
getting busy.
The term male loneliness epidemic is geared towards romantic things. There is truly, I will say, there is a facet of it that I've seen people address that is young men in general are not as social as young women, and that is also contributing to the loneliness as a whole. But when people say the male loneliness epidemic, they're not talking about, I don't have anybody to come over and play Mario Kart with. It's, I don't have anybody who will be my wife. I don't have anybody who will be my girlfriend.
So what's interesting is yes and no. So in social media context, and this is kind of what I was preferencing when I was like explaining what we're going to get into today, through social media context, yes, that is how it is used. That is how the data is being interpreted conveniently. However, when you actually look at the studies that everybody is citing to make this argument that men aren't pulling bitches because they can't act right, it actually moreover does study male friendships. It's actually, the men are actually not having any trouble getting laid or having girlfriends, but they are lonely because they don't have any extended social friendships beyond like even their girlfriends and wives.
So
it actually is more about friendship. Yeah.
So
like the studies are.
If that's the case, my question is, it does kind of feel like a skill issue then. If it's not a romantic thing, which it can be a huge uphill battle, and it's just, I don't have anybody socially at all, go to your local library, find something out, go online and join the group meetup. You can find literal groups of people with shared interests to go and physically insert yourself with groups of people. It's like, I don't know. It sounds like going, well, I guess I'm lonely, nothing to be done about it. If that's the case, then it's like, to me, it's even less of an uphill battle. Now, there might be people with social anxiety disorders. I don't think they should be considered largely as the male loneliness epidemic because they're dealing with something that is more broad spectrum and not male specific. I see people saying things about third spaces. Absolutely. There aren't as many third spaces, especially...
What's a third space?
A third space is not work, not home. A third space you can go to hang out. Used to be the public house. But not everybody goes drinking anymore in the current generation.
So, what's interesting about this take, and that's kind of like what I'm going to build up as we keep covering these women, is this is a very, very common opinion of like, it's a skill issue. You guys are doing this wrong. But what happens if we get into the data that suggests that women are just as, if not more, lonely? Is it a skill issue?
For them being socially without somebody, or them being romantically without
them self-reporting loneliness at a higher rate than men, especially as they get older. This is where the conversation gets a bit more nuanced. This is where it's interesting. This is where we actually
maybe it is a skill issue.
Might not be as different from each other, right? This is where it's like, oh shit. It might be time to think about some things here, right? Like, I've had so many moments like this even in my own channel, like even looking back at some of my older content, I'm like, man, this actually does not survive my newfound knowledge and my introduction to new information. So it's interesting. Let me show you another one. So what I want to get into with this new one, hold on. The audio always starts playing beforehand. So in this one, I want to go over these multiple examples too, because the last one was super well received by women. People understood the kind of joking, facetious nature to it. Like, yeah, she was screaming, but like she probably doesn't talk to all men like that all the time. Like, she's just a frustrated person and trying to be a bit silly about it, right? This one has a woman kind of essentially saying the same thing, but getting a bit more into it and discussing what is oftentimes kind of a red pill trigger, which is a woman daring to still be dating in her 30s, which is like instant discrediting in a lot of spheres, right? Even though plenty of men are in their 30s dating too, right? It's not the biggest deal in the world. But I wanted to get into the comments on this one after we watched the videos, because in this one, a lot more men actually speak up as to why they believe that women are having a hard time finding men, and try and answer the question of where the men are. So we can kind of learn a little bit more from a woman's perspective and a man's perspective. Caption reads, "I'm so effed, I know it. SOS, where are the good single 30-year-old or over men?" Now, for all we know, she's not in her 30s. She just likes them older. She just likes them crow's feet. Who knows? Let's find out.
As a single woman, I'm getting a little worried when I scroll on this app that like all of the good single men, 30-year-olds and up, or near that range, they are, if they're single, they're staying inside and doing exactly what I would want to do, which is like binge a show and like order and take out. Like, why when I'm scrolling, I'm seeing all these like cute men who look like they have their head on their shoulders. They probably don't. Let's just be fucking real. But
what's our timestamp? For the, we're like a good, like maybe 30 seconds in, I think, before we got that self-fulfilling prophecy that I was talking about. How long do we get into the video of where are all the good men before we kind of show our hand of like, I actually hate men though? Well, that might be getting in the way of things.
they're all like staying inside. Like, what I'm trying to do is...
Hold on, wait. I can answer this question. Quantum Fantasy asks, what is the female version of hag maxing, dilf maxing?
Text a girlfriend and be like, hey, you know what? Instead of me cuddling into bed and binging all of Real Housewives, let's go out. Because I'm just hoping that one day, like, I meet my husband, like, meet cute randomly. Like, I gotta go out and do that, right? I have to, like, actually put myself out there. I have to actually do my makeup and, like, put on a cute outfit and do that.
True.
You know? Crazy concept.
You don't have to do your makeup, though. I wish that, like, to any women watching, I wish that, like, and I wish you would believe me, but you probably won't. You don't have to wear makeup to meet a guy. I think, like, probably all of my long-term relationships, specifically the, like, decade-long one, I met wearing no makeup whatsoever, nor was it, like, a requirement, nor did I get shamed for not wearing it at any point in time. You don't have to, honestly.
I have a fear that all of the good single 30-year-old men are doing the opposite. Hey, get out there. Please. Stop ordering takeout by your fucking self and wait for me to be there with you to do it, okay?
Anymore. That was for our early,
Fuck, literally.
But she didn't say you have to go to the club.
She said, I want to go out. I want to get cute. Like,
well,
men in their 30s.
That could just mean going to the local outdoor shopping
I thought she
center.
said, I want to go, like, dancing and stuff.
Well, to be fair, from that outfit, she doesn't
look like she's going, let's go to the mall. It's like she's like, I want to go have a party night.
Yeah.
And it's like, you
that's
can't...
not parent-teacher conference outfits, that's for sure.
That's
not slut
silly.
shaming. I'm just saying, like, she might be wanting to go clubbing.
That's another unrealistic thing. Like, this is the version of, like, the... Like, we had a friend who... Because they were in the military, and then they kind of fucked off for a few years, and they got back for the military. They were in college well into their late 20s, and it was like... and their early 30s, and it was like, yeah, it was weird when they're like, yeah, I'm going to hang out with X, Y, or Z, and it's like, they're half your age.
They're almost half your age, dude. And it's like, I know you guys are in the same class. You're like, they're my peer. But it's like, some of these people can't legally go drink with you. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think she maybe needs to, again, this is a skill issue thing to where she's expecting the same thing that worked in the past decade to work in this decade. Maybe she needs to adjust what she's bringing to the table if she's trying to find a good man in his 30s, because every good man in his 30s isn't dressing up in his club finest and being like, yeah, let's go tear it up, like let's go out on the town this Saturday. They're like, I want 2 beers at my favorite bar and then I'm going home. Better yet, if one of our friends has a subscription to whatever game we want to watch that's on, or our favorite streaming service for the latest episode of what dropped, I'd rather go home and drink there. You know why? Because it's cheaper. It's like a lot of us genderless don't like to go out as much in our 30s just for the social aspect. We're fucking tired of it. Whether we are having a quote unquote loneliness like slump, or just me when I was in my late 20s, I'm like, I fucking hate going out and partying. I hate going out and doing this. It's so boring.
This is so funny that, like, now we're switching it up, because I was about to defend her. I was like, wait, weren't we just saying that, like, men are a little bit more antisocial when it comes to, like, going out? I was actually giving her the benefit of the doubt that she maybe meant, like I said, like, going to an outdoor shopping plaza, picking up some macarons, going out to a library cafe, like a natural, organic, physical way of meeting people, not necessarily like hitting the club, but like, okay, yeah, that's not the best way to meet people, probably. But the more you like put yourself out there in social situations, like joining like a co-ed sport of some kind, cycling, just even going to a gym.
This is part of like what I'm saying. It's a skill issue with people who are coming out here going, "Ooh, I really ruffled some feathers. I'm sorry I'm sorry I got some feels hurt on that, guys. But we have to come to the table with our feels.
Going out is for sluts."
It's like, I need you guys to really...
That's going to be my excuse for being introverted.
There are...
Sorry, I can't go out. What was the username? I can't go out. Matthew005 says going out is for sluts.
And it's like, some of us might live out in the middle of butt-funk, podunk nowhere, that it's like there's literally not a single person other than like my 2 neighbors who live 10 miles away from me in a population of 500 town. Granted, but I bet there's a town close by. I'll bet there's an online community. I'll bet if you actually put the effort forth, and this is the hard part, it's something that I've had to do. It's something that many people I know had to do. It's something that I know people who have extreme social anxiety will do, is they will push themselves out of their comfort zone, and they'll say, I'm going to go attend this thing. I'm going to go, even if it's just to sit and watch, even if it's just to socialize a little bit, to dip my feet and see if it even is for me. But it's like, the whole point is, people are saying teachers doesn't like that people are lucky. And I guess it's easy to just being like, oh, he's just deflecting. He's just doing this. He's just doing that. When you don't want to actually like put in the fucking work. That's what I'm saying. People are like, he's deflecting. He's doing this. You're fucking lazy. Stop making excuses. That's what I'm telling you people who are like, whoa, you're homeless? Just go get a house. Grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up, you guys. Are you kidding me? Grow up. You know what I'm saying. You're being reductive.
Look, you got the women on your side. Sabrina Freeman Murray says, us older people really don't like going out and peopling, walks with dogs, or grocery shopping. Those are far more appealing.
Yes.
So we got some pro tips from the ladies. Francine Miranda is loving your rant.
Thank you. I'm just saying, you got it. I've had to put myself into many social situations where I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to fucking talk to anybody here, but I need to get out of the house. I need to try to talk to somebody. Jesus.
Yeah, we got some controversy in the comments, but you know, you got some pros, you got some cons, and that's
exactly.
just what happens.
Like, that's such a lazy,
opinion.
like, let me know that you have zero media literacy, dude. If you're not a Chad, I'm not a Chad, you guys. I'm my chadness is all a magnification through her. Like I'm the otaku from all of the anime who is like the fulfillment fantasy of the author because he's such a fucking loser nerd. Like the only reason I might look lucky or you guys think of me this way is because of this woman right here. She is the reason that you guys are putting this filter of whatever you might think of me. I am not as capable as much as I appreciate it, chat. Father Coconut is not as capable as he might come off. She has added the confidence. She is what you guys are reflecting onto me is what you're seeing. It is not me. I'm not saying that you chose mid. I'm just saying
crying too much. You can't make me keep crying.
You're damn right I'm a simp. You're damn right I'm a fucking simp.
She's your manic pixie dream girl.
Dude.
Heavy on the manic.
She's absolutely my manic pixie dream girl. Not really though, because I from what I understand those are kind of toxic.
I did literally have a pixie cut though when you met me, so that's...
Dude, I'm autistic. I'm autistic and ADHD. I'm Squirrel Gang plus...
They're on your side.
Thank you, okay.
Oh, wait, never mind. I thought they were on your side. My bad. Didn't keep reading.
That's so funny. See how you assumed that I was a normie? So I hope you feel fucking stupid for that. I've got autism and ADHD. I had to go pick up medication for that. Sorry that I don't fit the narrative you're trying to push.
Damn.
But I understand. In fact, I went through all of that bullshit without being diagnosed. So I just thought there was something inherently wrong with me, dude. I thought there was something wrong. Like, what is fucking wrong with me? And then eventually, once I got diagnosed, every social situation that I was like, why did that feel fucking weird? I had, there was a core given to it. And it's like, I get it. I understand how fucking hard it can be. I understand how lost you can feel when you don't even know why it's not clicking with some people, dude. So it's like, don't come at me and be like, you don't understand, normie. Like, not in this house. Not in this house.
I will say, yeah, we're not normies. I will at least say that. All right. Well, obviously, the loneliness epidemic discourse... There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to discuss.
I just want to leave them with this. I didn't mean to dismiss anybody who's like, it is a social loneliness thing. I've only heard it, I've mostly heard it referenced socially in social settings as just romantic. Mm-hmm. I don't mean to dismiss the loneliness of being a man. Lord knows I have experienced it. But I'm saying... the only way that we're going to be able to help the male loneliness epidemic is by us, the men in the epidemic, putting ourselves into the uncomfortable. We're going to have to... I failed so much before I succeeded. This
part survives the gender swap.
And it's like, it's like the meme, what is it? The TikTok meme of like the unbridled, like you can't stop the human spirit. I'm fucking up the words for it, but it's like you can't keep the human spirit down. And it's like, the point is, I've been in the deepest fucking depression that you can imagine, dealing with shit. And a lot of it was, again, like I said, it was undiagnosed neurodivergence on my end, but it was like, I've been through it. I work through it regularly, but it's like, I understand, and I'm saying the only way out is through. Can't go over it, can't go under it, gotta go through it. We're going on a bear hunt.
I was like, did you just pull the ultimate dad move and cite we're going on a bear hunt as you leave the men with your stern talking to on...
I have faith that literally every single person who's experiencing it can get through it. Find somebody, even if you're people who you help, this can be your third space right here. This can be your safe third space right now. Like, it's safe right here. It's not social, but it like in like person to person like touch, but you can still talk to people. Let it start here. Maybe you'll find somebody who actually lives close to you via the Discord, and now suddenly you have someone with a shared interest. But it's like you have to put yourself in the uncomfortable situation to find any sort of success, or it's just going to be failure because it's failure to launch.
I mean, that is always true with dating. Is
I've seen friendships.
Yeah, I guess friendships too. But putting yourself in any kind of vulnerable situation where someone can hurt you emotionally is, yeah, you always do have to take that risk to have the reward. Okay, let me catch up on.
I'm so sorry. There were so many super chats. I'm done.
Okay. But point made, you feel very strongly. A lot of people share these sentiments with you.
That were the nuance.
And that's kind of why I wanted to discuss this, is because there are some very strong feelings about it when we look at the data, it turns out that when we apply these same thoughts to women and we hold women to the same level of accountability, that we also might need to approach men if we want what we want. And that, if you actually look at the success of when we approach men, that's practically like such a high, I almost use the word comorbidity with like successful marriage.
That's the exact word.
There was a better word I could have picked.
I think it's perfect.
But Batman says, putting yourself out there when every person you end up finding doesn't reciprocate that initiative is extremely draining. You give up after a while. This is also going to be brought up in this specific comment section that we will eventually get back to. Okay, there was a couple more. Let me scroll down. Shiny Luna, thank you so much for the 5, says, I don't know who thought TJ was a muggle. The Lord actively gives advice to women based on TJ's obvious neurospices, like giving quests, for example. I'm so glad you remembered that one. I should probably remake another episode about that.
Thank you, ADHD.
Phil says, calm down, Tripod Johnson, hyper-focus elsewhere. Damn, Phil really said, I cannot mind this hard today.
That's fair. Indomitable. That was the word. The indomitable human spirit. Thank you.
Indomitable. Yeah, that's a pretty difficult word to just pull out, I would say. Golems and Goblins, haven't seen you in a minute. Or I just haven't seen your username in the vast array of
I see them on my stuff
chats.
every once in a while.
Can we get a TJ Crash Out's reaction? Favorite part. Man, I could probably tell my editor to just keep track during lives and just to make a special little folder for those. I'll do an ultimate TJ Crash Out compilation. Jared654, thank you for the generous 5, says TJ's crashing out, being unable to imagine that some people do what he did and it still doesn't work.
I think you guys can't comprehend that. I do understand. I get it. I failed. I lost faith at times and almost gave up and decided, you know what, I'm going to keep going out even if it sucks. Yes, luck matters. But you know what? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Like, it's... Yes, luck matters, but you know what? It's the parable of the guy who's like, oh, I prayed to win the lottery. I prayed every week, please God, let me win the lottery. And then he died and he got to heaven. And he's like, God, why didn't you ever let me win the lottery? And God was like, you never bought a ticket, you idiot. It's like, yes, luck matters, but you gotta do the fucking thing for luck to happen. It's not like I just blinked and I showed up.
Hold on, oh my fuck. Oh my fuck.
Oh my God. Oh. I see her. No, I see right there. I know. Here.
Mommy? I'm so, Mommy?
I know. Mommy shoe. Mommy shoe. Holy shit.
Okay. Act normal. Step on me? Okay, no, act normal. Marry me? Oh God, I'm sorry. Oh fuck.
We'll be just a minute, folks. I wish we could put like the colored bars across.
I think I just swallowed my own gut. I have to read the super chat. Wait, there were people who super chatted before you, though. I have to go in order. Okay, wait. Before I get to Shoe on Head super chat.
Wow, I'm actually really glad I was here to see that.
Hold up. I'm sweating. Okay, wait. Let me read this to for zombies. I will point out if you don't work normal hours, it's a lot harder to socialize. Like,
That's
I work
fair.
3 to 11 Thursday through Monday.
And again, I'm acknowledging the nuance in that, 100%.
Lacey, growing up with undiagnosed autism, gloves, shout out. Mochi hair still on my lips. I'm proud of you, TJ. The flame to struggle builds strength of character. Y'all are so adorable, by the way. Thank you, Lacey. And then, hold on. I'm just gonna screenshot that real quick. That's gonna be
I mean,
print.
listen, to be fair, we literally will see a new video and we'll text the other person and be like, Shu's got a new video, and we'll wait to watch it with the other person. Like,
Oh, God. Wow. Okay, anyway, so Shu Head says, people were recommending your channel and I didn't go check it out until months ago. I'm so happy I did. I like seeing women speak about men's issues. There needs to be more because society brushes men who do off as incels or whatever. Great stuff. Take my money. Oh, dude, Shu, I've been watching you for years. For years! Oh my
Damn.
God, I love Shu
That's
so
amazing.
much.
that's awesome, dude.
Yep. Oh man, that just made me so happy. This is like confirmation too that I'm exactly where I want to be. You know what I mean? It's not about like the quantity of people who watch your channel. It is like who is watching. But I mean, yeah, that's true. I hear that all the time, especially like if I ever get recognized in public. That's like the number one thing that guys say to me is they're like, thank you for saying stuff that I would be like punched in the face for saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's why I keep doing it. Whew. And to think I almost didn't stream today. I was like, man, I might cancel today's stream. I'm like, no, just like warn them that maybe Wednesdays. Whew. Well, that just cured all of my depression, actually. Never mind. I'm good.
Just injecting dopamine directly into your veins.
Colonel Arnold says, I gave up back in middle school not playing a game. I know I won't win.
No, Colonel! No!
Just go back and rewatch his last rant.
Colonel!
I don't. Why would you rile him
I
back
believe
up
in
like
you,
that?
Colonel!
Why would you set him back off like that? It's like when you finally, like, the kid has been playing the same kazoo and you finally get him to put it down, and then one of your family members is like, hey, kiddo, you want to play the kazoo? And you're like, no! Grandpa, let me, no! Blazer, thank you for gifting memberships.
The problem is, though,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
absolutely going to be that grandpa who, if I see the parent take the kazoo away, I'm going to sneak the kazoo over to them and be like,
All right, well, shoot, collab? Maybe collab? Well, I will fly out. We have to finish this video. We've been on like 10 straight minutes of screaming.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. That's everybody knows that's just kind of par for the course.
I know.
If there's a TJ appearance.
I know.
Okay, we literally only have like 10 seconds left of this.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'll
we'll get-
remove myself for the moment being.
And then we'll get into the comments here to see some of the male explanations for this.
Probably gonna run into a douchebag. Pray for me.
Okay. Well, that was so that was the video. It all came full circle in the end. You know, we had quite a distraction. I think that like some people threatened to like post me on Reddit or something during all that. I don't know. But ultimately this came back to our original challenge was, how long does it take into a video of a woman complaining that it is impossible to find good men before she reveals that she actually might just hate men? In this case, I think it was like less than 15 seconds into the video. And then closing statement is, even if I do find a man in the wild, he will probably just be a douchebag anyway. I mean, it's really hard to contend with that. If you go into a situation, like if I go into a job interview and my thought is, why bother? I'm probably not going to get this job anyway. The chances of me getting the job go down, don't you think? Like, probably pretty significantly. And the problem with like a self-fulfilling prophecy too is like, honestly, that example wasn't even that good because a self-fulfilling prophecy blinds what the reality even is. Because you could have a bad attitude and still get the job. I guess a better example would be getting the job and being like, whatever, this job is probably gonna suck anyway. Does that make more sense? And then just every day you're going into it just waiting for the other shoe to drop, just constantly searching for something. And this can often be a self-sabotaging move that a lot of people use to protect themselves. This is kind of what I brought up earlier, that I have a lot of empathy for people who have had really shitty relationships. I really do. But projecting the most villainous people onto every person you meet, probably a good way to set yourself up for failure. Pluto, thank you so much for gifting a membership. That's awesome. There are some in the vault for you guys, some early accesses. Go watch the Dadvocate Origin story stream back in the community tab. Go check that out. I got a couple more before we go into some studies, by the way. The studies that I mentioned earlier, because as I said, these examples are, as TJ pointed out, the general social media understanding of what is going on with the alleged male loneliness epidemic. This is one of those, like, almost a Mandela effects, where someone said one vague thing, or some study came out, someone completely misinterpreted it, and then it just got disseminated into the social zeitgeist as, like, absolute fact.
I think it's one of those things that's correlation versus causation, and I'm sure that it's loosely connected on some level, but I think it's more so one of those things where it's like wild hog births and Nicolas Cage movie releases have a weird like correlation. Obviously not connected.
How in the did you think of that?
That's actually there's dude. It's not like that specific one.
Oh my god. Okay.
No. You can find,
I was about to Google.
There's one about Nicolas Cage movies though. There's a
And
weird
hog
correlation,
births?
not like hog births, but it's like some weird natural occurrence and like the release of some actor's movie. I swear to God, Nicolas Cage was in there. You can look up a whole article on weird correlation, completely non-causation charts that statisticians are like, this is so fucking weird, and it literally, we don't know why.
Huh.
Oh yeah.
So similar phenomenon. So I want to go over a couple more of those before we get into the data. Jared, very generous super chat. Thank you so much. Statistically, some things just don't happen for some people, and we have a society where this is increasingly the case for a larger portion of the population than it used to be. That is a problem that try harder won't fix. Yeah, it is difficult because in an era where we are so reliant on social media and where we're just like instantly driven to doom scroll to solve all of our problems, it is true that you can keep putting yourself out there over and over again, but it won't necessarily stop everyone else's antisocial behaviors either. So it's kind of like a greater, larger scale thing, bigger than us. And we can, one drop at a time it, but there's definitely a lot to be said for the larger waves pushing against us. And then Sketchy Wolf, enjoying the live but gotta go. Thank you for enjoying. We will see you later. Okay. As you probably heard, I got another one for you. As a reminder, the game that we are playing is, how long do we make it into a video about where are all of the good men before we find out that she pretty much just hates men anyway? Let's go.
I'm gonna say it, and you're not gonna like what I have to say. You're not gonna like it, man. You're not gonna like it. Where are the real men at? I'm sick of it. They don't make men like they used to. I'm gonna say it loud and proud, because tell me why men these days, they don't want to do an oil change. They don't know how to change a tire. They don't know how to do anything. If Google doesn't know, babe, they don't know. Tell me why my dad knows every single thing to do with his hands.
All right, I just got to point out two things really quick. We got two little old red flags that I got to get to. But first of all, Good Wrench, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for gifting memberships. That's what I'm saying. It's worth it to hang out in the live. I have a very generous audience, apparently a very famous audience. She's Louise. I'm still in a tizzy. But okay, the first two things that we have to address.
She's British. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, I did
kidding, I'm
happen
kidding,
to
I'm
notice
kidding, I'm
that was
kidding
not
about
a
my UK
Midwest
friends.
accent. First thing, men don't know how to do an oil change. Men don't know how to. I'm sorry, but like, correct me if I'm wrong. Women obviously know how to do these things as well, but it is still like a male-dominated automotive, mechanical, infrastructure, like industry. Correct? Like that's just disingenuous to say. Like, especially like, what do you mean men don't know how to do an oil change? That's not actually a problem. That is not an epidemic. There is not like an increase of data of like men are just not getting oil changes. Like they might pay someone else to do it for convenience, but like I don't think there's a significant increase in like cars not receiving oil.
Yeah, again, this is like they've never had to learn how to make an oil change because, like you're saying, the convenience of the oil place, of a mechanic shop being everywhere. We can decide from like 6 within a mile of our house of what mechanic shop we would like to go to get an oil change. So it's like, yeah, it's super convenient. You know what? I'll bet a lot of men don't know how to hunt either. Do you know why? Because I can go to the grocery store. I mean, we still know how to hunt in our family, but it's like, that's a cultural thing with us. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, people have stopped learning how to hunt or how to fish because they can just go get it. Do you know how to farm? Do you know how to like raise chickens?
Well, that's exactly it. Before I get into my second point, let's gender swap this. Could you imagine if a man made a video and was like, where are all the women, the real women at? Real women these days, they don't know how to set up Thanksgiving all by themselves. They do not know how to keep an entire home spotless while raising 7 kids.
Oh my god, their channel would go black before they could finish the video.
Which brings us to the next point, is the bringing up like, well, my dad, first of all, a parent-child relationship is so radically different than a romantic or spousal relationship, and I really hope that you don't make a continuous effort of comparing the two for so many Freudian reasons. But this also does not survive the gender swap, because if a man was like, my mom was able to raise all 7 of us kids while working at the postal office, while keeping the house clean, while letting my dad have 3 separate affairs and an entire double life, and would prepare all of the holiday meals. So, like, I just won't accept anything less. Like, I'm sure that you're depressed as fucking probably on a lot of pills, mother. Did barely manage to do those things. Just like, I'm sure all of these dads who worked 80 hours a week and still came home and cooked and did the dishes and played ball with the kids and then did it all over the next day, like, I'm sure that those tired as dudes did barely manage to do that, but like, it's just a dangerous precedent. Real quick before we finish this, Phil says, I'm so glad I got to be here when your literal YouTube idol popped in. I'm sure everyone agrees that you deserve all the love and recognition. I'm so glad a small part of your journey. Now calm down and get to work. Yeah, y'all better clip that freak out. I will do it myself, but still. All right. Sorry, the mochi hairs persist, but so do I. Okay, and then one final one. Brandon Peterman, 9964. Thank you for the generous super chat. 39M, threw in the towel on dating 10 years ago. I just focus my time on working 60 to 70 hours a week. There also really aren't any social things outside of church here in central Indiana. Church is a great resource for a lot of people.
Join a D&D club.
Yeah, if you're into like tabletop gaming, central Indiana, I'm sure that there's stuff to do. 39 is also young. 39 is the new 29. You're practically a baby.
I needed to hear
like,
that, thank you.
And also, well, no, and it's true. And like, if you actually look into the statistics on dating, 39-year-old men are typically that's when you guys settle down. And you tend to settle down with younger women. Like this is the age where like women are really looking for stability and like you're at a point where you're starting to find your stability. I would definitely recommend getting your friends before focusing on a girlfriend, but yeah, you can find friends for sure. And I feel like once you find friends, the dating market will open up, because friends is how you usually meet people organically. Is someone suddenly like has their cousin over at a barbecue and you're like, who's that? And the cousin's like, who's that? And now you're married. Like,
I mean,
so it's fine if you've pulled out of the dating market. I did too for 2 years before I met TJ and got stuck falling in love, you know? Sometimes it sneaks up on you. I love, yeah. Other people are like, in Central Indiana, you gotta get into the tabletop
Magic the
game.
Gathering. I mean, honestly though, and it's one of those things where it's like, you might, regardless of what hobby you get into or way you put yourself out there, you have to accept that you might run into a few poopers, right? You might run into a few like, well, shucks, you know, that was...
It's like therapy and medication. Hold on, real quick. Let me read the lip gloss. Some car brands have proprietary oil you can't buy. But yeah, also fairly valid. There's so many
all the
good
Indiana
reasons.
people are like, MTG is really popular.
Wow, who knew that you like actually had Central Indiana super pegged? Colonel Arnold, my great-grandfather's mom raised 7 kids after his father died. Also for TJ's thing, meh, I just don't bother. I broke the rule once, but we wanted different things in life, so cut it off. Besides, that broke the rule. Well, isn't that a reference to like a popular hockey romance novel for women where like the guy makes a rule, you don't catch feelings ever, and that's like the team's rule is we don't catch feelings, and then like the whole romance saga is like, but he caught feelings.
I love how you said that like a hockey player.
You know,
Bro, I imagine them just like in the locker room.
Berta!
Yeah, like literally like pulling their head up over the shower. Oh, let's keep listening to this lady.
Wait, real quick. Another one for Brandon Peterman. All my friends have been married for 20 plus years. Went to several of their weddings, and my last ex was a widow. Yeah, so you get it. Kind of. I actually don't know what that was necessarily in reference to, but you get it. Okay, back to this one.
Could ask my dad to literally build a bridge for me to get to the other side of the road. That man will do it within 1 hour. You ask a man this day and age.
That's also just a ridiculous
being
claim, though.
hyperbolic.
Like, yeah, saying if I needed my dad to build me the most ridiculous thing, he would do it in a superhuman amount of time. It's just giving, like, it reminds me when there was, like, I think it was the Parkland shooting, and Trump was like, if I was there, I could have stopped the shooter. Like, you can't just say stuff like that, dude. Like, that's like stolen valor, bro. You're giving your dad, like, industrial stolen valor right now. You're making this, like, ridiculous golden fantasy standard that you're holding men to. And then you're wondering why no one's able to meet the standard. I'm sorry, because no one can build a bridge over a puddle in an hour. Maybe that's why we're having trouble.
Hey, can you tell me how to check my tire pressure? Yeah, let me Google that. What do you mean you have to Google it? What do you mean you have to Google it, man? What do you mean? What
do you mean you're not just an endless Jeopardy source?
That's so stupid. That's so stupid. Hey, go make me a chicken cacciatore. How the fuck do you make? You don't know how to make chicken cacciatore? Yeah, cheese.
You have to Google how to get blood out of wool. I love that a lot of people are actually arguing how quickly they could build a bridge. Okay, men, Tylenol men, calm down.
No. Okay, so I saw on TikTok, there's like a way that you can build, it's called like Da Vinci's Bridge, and you can make it pretty quickly, but you need like, it's basically a pressure bridge.
Sick. Okay, and also, Shenlog brings up a great point. Why does she not know it? Right? Like, if you're gonna get on his ass for not knowing how to check the tire pressure, which is relatively simple, you just need a, like, tiny little tool you can keep in your center console. Fairly simple. But, yeah, my dad taught me pretty early, I will say.
And that's so funny, is it's like, you shouldn't be like, why don't you know this? It should be like, why don't you?
go out in the world being like, I expect a woman to know how to cook. I went into the world going, I'm going to learn how to cook from the cook in my family, who was my mom, because I wanted to be able to do that for myself and anybody who joined my table as life went on. Like, that's a skill that I wasn't like, that's a woman's job. To be fair, my grandpa was the cook who taught my mom. So
it's very pink chore, blue chore. Josh says that have him build that bridge to get over it.
Yeah.
That was excellent. And then Archangel Michael, so good to see you again. I see we might be a little bit late. You said your title heading is they are. Most women are lonely. Why they are so bitter and have ridiculous requests. Okay, we might be going into a little bit
come back.
Empirical territory.
Come back.
We do have the data. Spoiler alert, when it comes to data, neither men or women are majoritively lonely. There are some who are lonely. There is no one that takes up like most are lonely.
Is it like 30%? I gotta imagine it's like 30% of the population.
It's decent. It's a decent chunk and goes up as you get older. We'll see.
Well, but that's of course because all your friends fucking die because that's what happens.
Well, duh. All your
I'm
friends
sorry.
die.
That's a plot line of like every family sitcom that has like a grandparent character is like the family or the class reunion, and they go and like I can't wait to see all my friends, and they show up and there's like 5 people and they're like woof.
Oh, look, we've reached our the characters all come together in the end after the problem of the story, the EDF legacy and TJ.
Hey, listen, me too, I clearly can be blunt and went off. So hey, I'm sorry. I'll give you over the screen hug.
Peace at last.
Well,
That's
we
all
got
I do on this
the meme
channel.
of the 2 arms. Just
So I'm
like,
saying we're building bridges, not as fast as that lady's dad, but
I don't know. This was quicker than an hour. That's
true. So men, look, just average men doing it, hiding from this lady.
Listen, that was literally like if you could frame that. That is what when you guys hear them say like healthy masculinity, that literally that interaction is an example of what that looks like.
I always love when that happens in my comment section, when people like come at each other harshly, forgetting that like they're both real people, and then eventually they remember they're both real people, and then they're like, okay, I'm sorry, and I'm always like, yay! I love when people remember they're real people on the internet. It's always a great win. Let's finish.
Sorry. I just know for some people they're like, well, yeah, fucking die, and it's like you'd be surprised how rare that quality is in what was their name, EDF Legacy.
Does this emoji?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that was the hands. I thought you were doing the. Okay.
That's hilarious.
Man, this is what you're built for, babe. This is what you're built for, and you don't even know how to check my tire pressure. Please. I'm sick of having men that don't know how to literally use their hands. I'm sick of it. Be a man. I'm gonna say it, and you're not gonna.
Men were made. This is how I know that she's so entitled and privileged. Is because she literally goes, men were made to change oil in cars. Lady, who told you that you're entitled to a car? It is so wild to me that people treat owning a car as a human right. Like something that they inherently deserve. Like food and water and like a basic like plumbing system and roads.
Public transportation should be available, but
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
if you can afford a car, dude, get a car. Look at New York City.
Yes, I mean, yeah.
Not everyone has a car, but some people keep it for when they want to drive somewhere.
But saying that men's sole purpose is to provide and work on cars is literally no different than saying women's sole purpose is to stay at home and make children and cook. It's really not, but I'll check the comments to see if they disagree. And then Jared, thank you for another 5. If a society gets to the point where young men are majority lonely, that is Chinese Civil War style collapse. Yeah, that's when we really know that, like, they're trying to do it. Like, the greatest powers are trying to make that happen, and then we really can't blame each other, and we have to stop the infighting, which is what I'm trying to do now, before we get to that point. But, like, that's when we know we have fucked up. Manina Wig, so long since I've seen you. Where's the love? Not even a 50% like rate on the stream. We can do better, especially since Chew on Head and TJ are here. I love they like put you guys on the same platform. Okay.
Just a loud, angry Italian.
Just a loud, angry Italian. Okay. Let's read the comments on this one. I actually haven't checked this one yet, so blind react. Please, today's women don't want real men. You don't acknowledge us till you need something from us. Valid, or...
I think we're telling on ourselves a little bit. Not necessarily on ourselves, but maybe what experiences have been that have hurt us, and are maybe putting a little bit of a filter over how we view the world now. As happens, that's what people mean when they say that changed my brain chemistry.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these guys are like, because if you keep comparing us to real men, then we will not feel appreciated.
That's so funny.
Hold on, I meant to read the comments on this one, actually. Men trying to basically explain where they are. This one says, we literally don't want to be bothered. It's that simple. And this is the thing, too, is it's funny how when women are like, hey, I've realized I don't need a man to be happy. I can accomplish everything that I want to alone. I'm not offended when people tell me to enjoy my wine and cats, because I do enjoy my wine and cats. And honestly, being single works for me. A great example of this is actually Lady J, another very well-known, prolific advocate for men and men's mental health, and a happily single woman. And sometimes women try to like throw in her face like, oh, are you trying to get picked by a man? I see no man has chosen you. And she's always like, it's interesting that you think that you're the feminist, and yet you're telling me that I don't have value unless I have a man. Funny that, you know? So it's interesting that we're really able to respect and appreciate when women are like, hey, I don't need a man. I'm fine on my own. But when men are like, hey, I really don't need women. I'm fine on my own. It's like cringe, incel, loser. Like, you're not able to get a woman and that's why you feel that way. But they've ended up that way for the same reason that women have. A lot of them have been hurt, robbed, bamboozled, cheated on, taken advantage of, emotionally abused, physically abused, and they're just like, you know, I'm good. I don't need to surround my life like chasing tail, trying to pull a woman. Like, I'm just gonna focus on myself, and they're shamed for it.
That's usually when you find something.
And yeah, I mean, that's oftentimes, as I've mentioned several times before, even in the stream, like, that is a lot of times when you're able to most organically find someone. As I've always said, the people who are happy being single often make the best partners, because they're never going to be, like, hyper dependent on you, hyper codependent. So it's actually really nice. Matthew Cooper says, male loneliness epidemic, women most affected. Don't hear any men talk about being lonely, but I hear a lot of women about how lonely men are. Is there some confession in that accusation? A great question. A very great question. That's kind of what we're going to explore today. You know, maybe, just maybe, these women boasting and bragging and making all of these videos talking about how they don't need no man and men ain't shit, maybe they are just coping. We'll get into it. Ariel Akira, thank you so much for the super generous super chat. I'm not sure if you meant to leave a message and maybe it just like didn't go through, but I'll be on the lookout in case you intended to send a comment with that one, because that was very generous. Thank you so much. All right, let's go back to some of these comments. We tried in our 20s. We'll die alone and content. That one's interesting because, again, I think these guys, I think they might change their minds if they looked into the statistics, because, listen, a decade of failed relationships and, you know, probably being accused of being the biggest asshole in the world every time one of those relationships end, and likely tons of rejection, are gonna leave their mark on a guy. Absolutely. But I think that a lot of guys would at least get a lot more optimism and hope if they did find the statistics that, like, most men settle and finally get married in their mid to late 30s. So that's when guys really start to reach a lot of their prime at that point.
Someone hid these underneath the sink.
The candy corn?
The candy corn pumpkin mix.
She was afraid that we would.
I think she was trying to hide it for herself so she can go and sneak it when she wants to.
That's a choice.
I found it with her.
Aria, thank you.
Up with it and she didn't realize it, but it was with her hair ties and tooth flossers.
Colonel Arnold, yes, I don't want to deal with finding someone. Would be nice, yeah, but screw destroying my mental health to get told what I already know. Well, there's a lot to be said, too, for the fact that, you know, everybody does things differently. So you might know your way, but other people have different ways. And I will say compromising and conceding is definitely an annoying part of life, but one where if you want a consistent relationship, you're going to have to do it no matter what. All right. Def not chasing women with 80,000 followers. That's an interesting one. I'm curious to hear from some of y'all in the chat. Are you guys intimidated or put off by women with large follower counts? I'm going to be completely honest, which this might come across as like hypocritical, but also I don't know because my situation is unique. Like, me and my husband definitely met as not normies, because obviously we're both weirdos, but like normies in the fact of like it's neither of us had fame or anything like that beyond normal. And it was only around like 2021 that like anything of mine blew up and I got followers on anything. Before this, I was just a regular person with like 400 Facebook friends. So like neither of us went into this relationship like, wow, like she's such a big deal. If anything, like I would say
No. Hey, no,
I was
I
gonna
thought
say-
you were a pretty big deal.
well, it's not like I had a ton of like eyes on me or anything though. Like I was a waitress.
I know, but I still thought that you were the biggest deal.
Well, thank you. But if anything, like
I know, I understand what
he
you're
had
saying.
a lot more fame and notoriety than me. His family was way bigger than mine. Like I've never been to family events like this before. Like he was like regularly singing the national anthem for the Detroit Tigers.
Not
like
really. Yeah.
more regularly than the average guy sings the national anthem for the Detroit Tigers. Like he was well known. Like he introduced me to Mitch Albom. So like if anything, I kind of had to contend with like, oh wow, this is like a really popular guy, and like women were like throwing themselves at him, and like I kind of had to deal with that a little bit. But like it, I guess it was like a tolerable level. But if it was any more severe than that, like 100,000 followers or something, and like I don't know, I think it would probably be really intimidating, and I would probably be scared away in some ways. It would depend on a lot of things, like how I was treated, or like or like how much even free time they ended up having, you know? Because like in my situation, it's funny because people see these big numbers, like, oh, she has over 500,000 on YouTube, but like the reality is like that's just on the internet. Like offline, I'm just a regular mom who walks her kid to school like all the other moms, and I pack popcorn at the PTO popcorn sales, and I take my dog around for a walk. Like I'm not living in LA or anything crazy like that, but I don't know, like that is a lot of followers, man. Especially I'm like curious what they do to get that. I don't know. To be honest with you, I would rather live a more low-key life, which again, I see that this could be seen as like hypocritical because of how I live now. But like, yeah, I can see that it would be really hard to like just have a bunch of people like constantly all over your person like that. And maybe they're not. Maybe she bought all of her followers and it's all fake. I don't know. Jared says, yeah, I don't want my life blasted online, so heavy social media posting is a red flag for me. Hey, TJ.
Yes.
How do you think you would feel if, like, I was already, like, this big on YouTube and stuff when you met?
I would have a huge crush on you, but I would have never. I would have been like, I would never have been like, can I get her phone number? Because I would have never. It would have been one of those, like, I would have absolutely been like an ooh, like, fanboy from the side. Like, she's hanging out with me, and it's like, I don't know, I feel, like, I feel intimidated by you now, but it's like, I married you, and so it's like, it's easier to deal with, but it's like, you're a super just, not like in a bad way, but like, you have like a really, like, strong personality, and so it's like, and I've expressed this, I fucking love that. Like, I love it. I love when you get, like the passion, like, even when it's directed at me, I'm like, this is why I married her. I'm like, this is why I fell in love with her. I'm like, you knew what you were getting yourself into, Corbett, you know? It's like, and so it's one of those, like, that, like, this is what I wanted, this person who, my stomach hurts! Like, it's the person who's gonna, like, let me know. And especially now we know I'm neurodivergent, that's super what I need. But it's like, I think I would have felt way too intimidated to ask you out on a date.
That's valid, because like I said, I would probably feel the same.
To be fair,
I feel like
you set up our first date.
Kind of. You did the heavy lifting, though. Like, you definitely pursued me.
I
It's just
pursued
after
you. Okay.
a month of talking, I was like, so we should probably finally go on a date, right?
Yeah. Okay. So what I said is, she asked me out on a date. It's not just that. It's not just that. She was like, so I guess we go on a date. I'm like, yeah. It was like 10 minutes later, the next text was like, cool, I booked my megabus on the day after you get back. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it was one of those, like, well, what's the goofy bit from?
Okay, I guess that's fair. I didn't ask you on a date. I literally told you we're going on a date.
Oh, dude, and it's like in retrospect, I'm like, yes, that's what I needed. Like 1000%, that's what I needed. And it's like, but I love that aspect of your personality.
That's okay, but now follow-up question. Not to be like, would you still love me if I was a worm or anything, but just for the sake of the discussion, especially the like 80K followers thing. Someone brought up in a comment earlier, they were like, well, it would be a turnoff because the main way that women get a following like that is typically through like scantily clad outfits. And like, I will say this, I'm very proud that I have built this platform not having to do that, you know. I can't say that I've never ever posted in a bikini on like our family vacations. There are definitely like probably 1 or 2 bikini photos of me out there in the world, but like, what if that was how I got my followers?
I don't know. I'd maybe feel slightly, I don't know. I guess I would feel more...
You're like, I'm already not approaching you, so I don't know.
I guess my thing is, if that's the case, I would be like, you know what? I'll bet, you know, she's probably getting flirted with all the time. Like, I'm going to go and I may as well just shoot my shot and see if see if this may be less jarring. There may be because I'm going to assume there's like 55-year-old men like, so hot, like, you know, commenting on all of the like every single post, and it's like, you know, married with like 2 grandkids and like 9 kids. And it's like, oh god, I don't know, it's different. I don't know, I lost my train of thought on that. Sorry.
I know, we all did. Okay, because we haven't even gotten into the studies yet. I guess it's not too late in the stream, but
No,
probably
I gotta
about
go
time
anyway.
to start.
I'll stop eating up your time. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry I went off on everybody so hard earlier. I just want to say, I understand that it's hard sometimes, and I understand wanting and needing to sort of like step away and go be that romantic painting of the dude standing on the rock with like the waves crashing against it, looking out into the ocean. Sometimes we need that. Most self-discovery stories begin that way. I encourage it, but like part of that, I just
That would
don't
probably
give
be
up.
a great
Don't
way
give
of
up.
actually
Don't give up.
meeting someone.
Even if, sorry, what were you saying?
It'd probably be a hilarious way of meeting someone. Like, imagine taking your tripod and being like, filming myself in like a button-down white see-through blouse rolled up to the forearms in jeans, looking like Prince Eric on a windy rock by the beach until I'm approached by the love of my life.
But the whole point of that is like, that moment is not wanting someone to find you. That moment is you finding peace in solitude, not despair. And it's like, despair can exist. It shouldn't be something that you should strive to get rid of. That's a valid human emotion. But it's like, there's also times when peace in solitude is, I'll go check who that is 100% valid in what you need. But part of that, again, is I also encourage you to put yourself out there out of your comfort zone and try and find your tribe somewhere. I don't know who the hell that is.
I will peek
Anyway,
at
I
the
love
ring
you.
cam. I love you. Who is here? Some dudes? Some guys? I don't know. TJ will figure it out. This is for TJ. Sorry. Bibbity boopy. Tyler says 100% agree. For me, I lost 10 social development early. Special ed abusive mother. I would have success in hookups but refuse. I still push. Your security system is going off. They sure are. Unfortunately, of course, send this as soon as TJ walks away, but who knows? Maybe he'll be back. TJ, what's your advice for those who feel they are inherently harassing women by even approaching them? Because I hate feeling like a monster. TJ's advice would probably be, if I had to guess, to just be normal, to just chill and just be regular. And as long as you are not like doing anything super creepy, hopefully you don't have to feel that way. But it's also hard for TJ, admittedly, as his wife, to see things from that perspective, just because like TJ's always had really strong relationships with so many women and was like strongly socialized with women from a very young age. As I said, has had like a very big extensive family, so like even with his neurodivergence, I think that he was given a lot more opportunities to learn how to mask than maybe others. So it can be hard for him, a little bit of like that fallacy of personal incredulity, to understand why people might feel like a creep. Not that TJ's never been accused of being a creep. He could tell you some stories, as I'm sure every man could. You know, it's kind of like, you know, how every woman has a story of being like harassed by a guy. Like probably every guy has a story of being like wrongly treated like a monster, had like the worst intentions presumed of him as well. But yeah, I'm sure what he would say is like, just do it. The old Shia LaBeouf method. Just do it. Ariel, thank you for another one. Oh my god, you guys are so kind. Very kind. Thank you. Shiny says, a lot of men have hit me with the excuse me, miss, respectfully, and it's always been very charming, but I'm a little traditional, so. I do like that. Actually, I'll admit, I know that some women will hate it no matter what. Like, there are women who will be like, ew, he might as well have just tipped his fedoras. But, I don't know. I am a big fan of also just, like, embracing rejection and learning how to deal with it. It's a good skill to have in life in literally every single facet when it comes to negotiating your pay, going for job positions, trying to get a discount on getting something fixed, you know, negotiating all kinds of stuff, but also, you know, approaching people, any kind of relationship. Getting used to rejection is very helpful. So, I got one more for you. One more as far as the claim this one specifically targets is that, as many people believe, this is the idea that a lot of women do not believe that men are putting themselves out there enough. This is what she's got to say.
I have been writing and working in the single and dating space in some capacity since 2013, and this is the most consistent question I have ever seen come up. Where are all the men is a consistent phrase that is pervasive across the dating space, across media portrayals of singlehood, you name it. We don't know where the fuck they are. And you know what? It's not our job to find out. Y'all tell us. I'm tired. I'm completely tired of trying.
Interesting. So now this kind of pushes the claim that not only are men not putting themselves out there enough by women's standards, how dare you not show yourselves, despite the fact that a lot of us have told you to leave us the fuck alone. How dare you not? But it's not women's job to find you anymore. It is your job to present yourselves in a courtly and appropriate manner and allow them to either choose you or not. I'm sorry, that's kind of what it sounds like.
To figure out this goddamn question. Where the fuck are all the men? Because you know where the women are? We're out there. We're putting ourselves out there because that's what we were always told we need to do in order to find someone. But then we went out there and you know who we met? Each other. Which is fantastic, by the way. I love meeting single women out. But we didn't go out to meet each other. We went out to meet you and you weren't out there. So y'all tell us, where the fuck are single men? Because
what an admission. Now, of course, she does not speak on behalf of all women, so we can't just point to her and be like, she said it, she doesn't care about any of y'all because she wants some dick, and she is pissed off that y'all are all getting in the way and hiding the dick, right? That we can't say for sure that that's how all women feel, but I can say for sure that between this and the horny woman ovulating earlier, though, these videos are getting a significant number of likes, significant number of engagement, of agreement. So it's not every woman, of course. It would be absolutely fallacious to make such a suggestion. But we know for sure that at least some of them are straight up on here like, excuse me, I'm actually not going to the club to simply dance with my girlfriends. I am trying to get laid. Why am I not getting laid? We know that this is at least happening.
what we're not going to do anymore is tell single women only. Put yourself out there. First of all, out where? Second of all, who's there when we go? They've been telling us lies and singing us songs for too long, and it's over. We're not falling for this shit anymore. We're not putting ourselves out there if we're the only ones doing that, okay? I have been writing and working in the single and dating space in some capacity.
Okay, so her final point is that she is not falling for it anymore. I don't know, like, what she thinks she's falling for. I don't know what, like, expertly laid ruse that she thinks is going on, that, like, by men not actively showing up to the spaces that she wants them to and making themselves available for romance, that this is all some kind of, like, trap or trick or, like, another weapon against women by the patriarchy. Like, that doesn't make any sense, actually. Like, I'm not seeing what the end goal there would be. It appears that if men are not where you want them to be, they're probably just where they want to be. Right? Like, this is not necessarily like a slight to you or like an insult to you. They're just not doing the same thing as you. What do you think about that?
I
Mr.
only
Star who
heard
showed
literally
up?
that last thing. But
Oh, this lady made a video saying that men are not putting themselves out there enough, something you touched on a bit. And she is upset that, like, when she goes out, it's basically, what's the opposite of a sausage fest? Like a vulva fest? Like a,
I don't know. Pick some food that is associated with the woman's piece.
It's got to be baked goods. Please don't do anything meat related. That's my rule. If we're gonna be using pet names,
Cupcake.
I prefer flower terms like lotus.
Okay.
Floral. I liked baked goods. Kitty is always good.
Yeah, it's a
kitten fest.
Kitten fest.
I'm just gonna say it. Pussy fest. Oh god, that was dirty. That was wrong. I see why YouTube does not want people saying this. They're gonna take away my ad revenue. It's fine.
You just gotta bleep
it's
it out.
just a cat adoption event. But yeah, she's complaining about that, and she's like, men, we're not falling for it anymore. If you want us, you gotta come out and get us.
Lady, what game have you been playing? Holy crap! It's like showing up, she's like, alright, man, if you want us, you gotta stop playing chess and start playing Parcheesi. Meanwhile, it's like the Parcheesi World Championships that she just walked in on, and they're like, what the fuck have you been doing this whole time, Charlene? Like, what? Yes, lady, they know! That's part of it. There are some, isn't it so interesting how the pendulum is swinging back the other way now, to where it was like, we had that big push of we had that one video that we saw of, it's like, a man made eye contact with me,
Oh my god,
it's
yes.
like, and now it's like, we're starting to see women who are like, hey, this is really weird, why are there no men? And it's like, because there's people within the same, like, dating demographic as you, who are having this reaction, and unfortunately, what is it? Hurt dogs holler? Is that what your dad says? Or the hurt, what the
No,
hurt dog barks the loudest?
yeah, the guilty dog barks the loudest.
Guilty dog barks the loudest. And it's like, So it's one of those things where it's like, I think it's like, you've said this so many times on your stream, we've said this together, is it's like, the loudest and oftentimes worst representatives of a demographic are what will be pushed to the front, simply because they're the loudest.
And it's kind of interesting because it's like how, throughout the stream, you realized that the male loneliness epidemic studies that have actually been put out do focus more on male friendships, but that because of the way it's portrayed on social media, everyone was led to believe that it's predominantly romantic based.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like in these situations we're getting like all these wrong ideas again, is these women are thinking like, oh well, you guys are trying to make us work for it, this is a trap, you're just once again refusing to take accountability and be a man, because that's what they're like seeing on social media or seeing in wherever they're going out and not seeing men. And the reality of it is just like way more innocent than that. It's not like this elaborate ruse necessarily.
Right. It's what's the one that you always say? Don't attribute to malice what can be attributed to ignorance or like innocence. Like,
yes, is that Hanlon's razor? Yes, Hanlon's razor. Do not attribute to malice what can be easily explained by ignorance. Essentially, most of the time when people are doing things wrong, it's not usually malicious. A lot of times it's just they didn't fully understand, something came up, they didn't know about it. And a lot of people hate Hanlon's razor. They're like, it's a get out of jail free card.
It's not a get out of jail free card. It's I think it's like, and that feels reductive, because it's like, it is introducing nuance to the conversation. It's like, okay, I understand why you did the thing you did. I need you to acknowledge the thing that you did made me feel this way.
You know, it's like we can't stop just at it's a get out of jail free card. It's just adding nuance to sort of this situation with which we have found ourselves. Does that make sense?
Presuming positive intent goes
Or
a
neutral,
long way and prevents a lot of miscommunication. Let me catch up on super chats. T-Daughter says, monster when we approach, monster when we don't. Perfect example of when men are like, we can't win. And then, boop, boop, boop. Gotta scroll down for the next one. Colonel Arnold with another one. Thank you for all your super chats. Okay, but what they're not saying is the guys they want is a stockbroker Joe who drives an expensive car and has a six-pack and 6 inches down there. There's a lot to be said, too, for... There's, like, the bars in hell, and, you definitely don't have to accept the bare minimum. Of course, no one does, no one should. You should be discerning. You should have standards. But then there are the people who are not in shape themselves, who want someone super athletic, someone who is not wealthy, who wants someone extremely wealthy. You know, it's someone who just, like, has all of these qualities that they want to see in someone else without any idea of, like, where would you even meet that person? Like, how could you organically even keep up with this dream person that you've invented, and, like, they're supposed to just choose you because you have inherent value? What?
I think it's like, if that's the partner that you want, is help the person you love achieve that together. Like, don't.
Oh, that's the thing, though, is a lot of women they're teaching each other.
Oh, no,
don't fall in love with potential. Don't build with a man. He needs to be built.
That's all relationships are, is potential. What are you talking about?
That's what's being taught to women right now. It's up there with everything is weaponized incompetence. Everything you do for him is emotional labor that you deserve to be compensated for. If he wants you to split bills, he hates you. And then, yeah, the last one I said, I don't even remember what it was now. But yeah, that one. Golems and Goblins says clam jam. Okay, that was, yes, that was a good one. A clam
meat.
jam, a sausage fest. I'll allow it for now because clams have pearls.
God damn it, M. Best BS art.
Wait, what? I bet TJ drives a reasonably priced used car with high safety ratings. Damn. Okay, I guess you just got called the fuck out.
Listen, you've called me Bill Green. I'll take it. Yeah, you know what? I do drive a used Jeep that is a big old family car that we call the Cludge. It's just a big old... It's not that big.
Yes, exactly, Victoria. You deserve the best, and if he's not the absolute best, drop him! Dump him! Divorce, babes, divorce! So, I think we've gone over quite a few examples of kind of the same message that a lot of women are having. And the message that seems to be perpetuated online is that the main reason for the male loneliness epidemic is that y'all can't act right, men suck, men don't know how to be men anymore, the real men don't exist, they're all just away hiding, and we're all here perfect, ready to go, but you guys all are just too scared to come out and get us. And that's the reason that you're all lonely. And there might be some truth there. There might be a lot to be said for the fact that, you know, there probably are a lot of men who also want companionship and are too scared to face rejection to try to grab it by the horns. And same the other way around. Let's start diving into some of the data that I have collected when it comes to the female loneliness epidemic.
I love you.
All right. I love you.
Thanks. I'm sorry that I ate up so much of your stream.
Aragar says, Lauren here telling us all to grow the fuck up. I mean, not exactly. Stay a kid forever, too.
Again, not a cool guy. Everything is the magnification of this lady.
I don't know why. Bro's sucking up right now. I'm about to find out, like, the dishes aren't done or something. Okay. So here's the first article that I found that I thought was pretty interesting. is this, let me see, what do I want to bring this up with? Oop, I don't want to move that. I want to move this. Oh, let's see. You guys all just super chatted me a bunch at once. Thank you so much. Brandon Peterman says, thank you for the generous 20. Wow. Over the last couple of years, I've seen conservative commentators such as Tim Pool and the DW group saying you should already be built as a guy before finding someone. And if you aren't, then you aren't a man. You know what's really, like, interesting is that I think that both liberal and conservative spaces have a really long way to go when it comes to how they are actually tackling men's mental health. And this is, like, kind of the issue. Is it also, like, should be a nonpartisan and bipartisan thing. Like, there's no reason for men's issues and struggles and men's mental health to be one of those, like, one or the other things. But it's really frustrating because I feel like a lot of radical liberal ideologies that kind of focus around more of, like, you should just reject the government and never have to concede to the man, and you should just be free to do absolutely whatever you want, probably keeps a lot of men complacent and avoidant, which is not great. But then you have, like, some really radical conservative ideologies like that you're a failure as a man if you don't earn enough money, and this is what you need to be doing as a man, and we're gonna shame you as a man if you're not doing this because it's your job as a man to be a man, and man. And, like, that's not super great either. There's definitely a middle ground where it's like you don't have to be this perfect structure of, like, what the good old boys from the 50s looked like, and if you don't look like this exact type of man, then you suck. And a space where it's just kind of like, no, it's totally fine if you have no responsibility, and as a true feminist man, you should let her earn all the money while you just stay at home and do nothing. Like, there is a middle ground that we've just gotta get to. Chris Bars, thank you for the 2. Says, preach, Lauren, get TJ to understand. Yeah, it's funny. We both teach each other a lot of things, for sure. As you can tell, I'm sure, anytime you see both of us on stream, we don't agree on every single thing off the jump, but we know how to talk to each other so that we're not just, like, talking past each other constantly. Colonel Arnold, who's out here telling women the way to get men is to approach them is by nagging them. We need to figure it out and stop it. Whoever is telling women the way to get men to approach them is by nagging them. I know. It's like we're hearing 2 different signals. Like, approach women. Leave us alone. Don't know which one you want. Sketchy Wolf Girl 9564. Argument with fiance. My FYP. Leave. I'm confused by what that means. I'm so sorry, but we've made it too far in the stream for me to not get confused by a super chat. Lil Miss says, TJ, I so appreciate your no-nonsense explanation, too. Yeah, TJ will bust out that dad voice, let me tell you. So, alright, the first one that I want to cover is this article by Cosmopolitan, not exactly like the peak in scholarly literature, but it quotes some articles as far as, does anyone care that young women are just as lonely as men are? Women are quote-unquote man-keeping to help men cope with loneliness and emotional turmoil, but many of us are struggling too. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this new term, man-keeping. It's gonna shoot right up to the top of the list up there with weaponized incompetence, emotional labor, all of these terms that originally had a valid definition, did come from a very specific phenomenon, but are now being overused into absolute oblivion. And man-keeping comes from the term housekeeping. But instead of taking care of and managing your home as the owner of it, women are now referring to basic spousal relationships as man-keeping, believing that it has become predominantly their job to manage and take care of the man more so than he is even taking care of himself. Now again, these terms derive from genuine phenomena. The term man-keeping genuinely comes from a very specific type of relationship where the dude put the ring on her finger and then he just let himself go and quit giving a shit. And he essentially was like, oh yeah, you just take care of the whole house and you also pay half of the bills, and I'm not going to do any of the childcare. I'm just going to play on my PlayStation for 7 hours a day, barely earn income, and I'm just basically going to be dead weight on this household. Like some men, they just quit their jobs as soon as they get married. Some men, they genuinely do not know how to be a good partner. Same with many women. Plenty of women do the same thing. They get the ring on their finger and they just stop giving a fuck. It happens. It happens. Okay? However, as a spouse, you take care of your partner. You remember certain things for them. You anticipate their needs. If they get sick, yeah, you baby them a little bit. Sometimes you remind them of things that they forgot about. Sometimes you even might clean up after them just to help out. And typically that's just a normal part of marriage. And hopefully it's reciprocated. Shame on the spouse if it's not reciprocated. But typically we don't just refer to that as like man keeping. We put this real quick through the gender swap machine, and we quickly are able to see how misogynistic it sounds when a man is like, I'm so sick of woman keeping my old ball and chain at home. She can't do anything for herself. She doesn't know how to earn money for herself. Doesn't know how to socialize. She's always asking me to come with her to things. Like, I think it would be pretty quick to discern that guy probably hates his fucking wife. Probably just hates her. And yet we see stuff like this and no one's like, do you hate your husband? They're just like, no, this is just regular women talking about regular women things. A few years ago, my mom and I had a blowout fight. I can't recall what sparked the argument. What I do remember is lying on the bathroom floor and sobbing as I scanned my texts for someone to reach out to who could keep me distracted from all the sadness. In my phone were the names of dozens of girls I met during my time at college, when I was rotating through late-night clubbing, brunches, concerts, in an attempt to get closer to people I hoped would one day be bridesmaids at my wedding. But truthfully, these friendships were superficial. Nothing like what I watched and coveted in the TV show Girls. I'm going to stop you right there. I am going to have to stop you right there. I hope that she does end up gaining more clarity, and I'm just pausing a bit preemptively, but you guys immediately caught the irony in that, right? That she realized that the friendships that she was making and clinging to and showing up for purely for this like long-term, already superficial goal of like, I need pretty girls to show up and look pretty for this pretty ceremony. She doesn't even have a man in mind yet, mind you. We don't even know who the groom is, who the family is we're married into, what his goals, ideals, or morals are. We just have to get pretty girls so that we can look good for something that all girls have to look good for. And then she's like, it just felt superficial. Nothing like this superficial fictional show that I watch. It sounds like it's exactly like the superficial fictional story that isn't real and is TV. So I think that might be one of the leading issues here. Do we think that she's going to follow the same train of thought that we've already boarded and realize maybe I'm tying too much of my identity to superficial, actually very tradcon values like consumerist ceremonies instead of actually just finding the right people who share the same goals and hobbies and interests and integral foundations as me? Or do you think that she is going to immediately deviate from that and go, no, it's not me and my superficial whims that are the problem, it's men? Give me a vote in chat. We'll keep reading this article and see what happens. This is truly a blind react, so I could be eating my own shoe here. We will find out. I couldn't rely on them during a panic attack. And if you can't call a friend at 10 p.m. on a weekday when the snot's coming out of your nose has made you unintelligible, are they even a friend? This is also a really tricky space, especially as you get older. I'm imagining that she's probably writing this in like her early mid-20s, maybe, like not everybody started having kids. But like I actually saw this one article where someone was like really shitting on people who put their do not disturb on when they go to bed at night because they're like, I've lost so many friends who were trying to call me, or like I couldn't be there because my phone was off, and like you really can't be doing that, you're so heartless. And I'm like, I get what you're trying to say, but the spam calls have been coming out later and later. I'm sure you guys have experienced the fucking 10 p.m. spam calls, and they love to start bright and early in the day too. They do not care if it's 7 a.m. They will start calling you. And like, sleep is highly tied to your overall health and well-being, your gut health, your metabolism, your brain function. Very important. Some of us take that very seriously. And 9.9 times out of 10, when I put my phone on Do Not Disturb to sleep, all that happens is I get a full night's sleep and avoided people interrupting that. I guess there is a 1% chance that I miss an emergency, but it's kind of like, am I going to destroy my sleep schedule in case there's ever an emergency I can help with? I don't know, man. And I probably would just never be able to keep a long-term friendship with someone who depended on me that highly and would hold it against me if I wasn't available. To be true. And yeah, I know about the iPhone screen unknown callers function. Doesn't fully work, unfortunately. Buttery God, thank you for the 5. Says back then it was all the good men are married or gay. Now it's no good men. Yeah, we decided to just narrow it down, I guess. Doom for Zombies also says, I know it's a bit late, but I tend to disengage when male loneliness epidemic comes up because in the circles that use it, it's to shit on men. That's kind of what I covered actually, like at the beginning of this stream, is like it used to have an origin that people were taking seriously, and now not so much. All right, I have to know where she goes with this. I'm a successful 21-year-old. Okay, so yeah, none of her friends are having kids. She's gonna break in her 30s if she doesn't get this under control. Who is a published journalist and works a good degree-aligned job. I live happily in New York City. I work out, love nature, and have a great boyfriend. The only thing missing? Friends. I lack them. And although this feels almost radical to confess these days, I know for a fact I'm not alone in it. It's kind of a god dang shame TJ is not around for this specifically, just because it's so common to have that mentality of like, if you're lonely, it has to be a skill issue. It has to be because you're not engaging in the world around you. You must not be able to socialize. You must be doing something wrong. And yet here we have like a pretty successful career woman in her early 20s with a healthy enough relationship with men to have a long-term boyfriend, and she's fit, she's active, she goes out, she does things, and she's fucking lonely. How do we explain this? Today, lonely women like me are abound, and the data backs this up. About 1 in 6 Americans say they feel lonely or isolated from those around them all or most of the time. And so some examples here. This is one you can find from PubMed. This is all of the information if you want to go ahead and look this up yourself. Reads Gender Differences in Loneliness Over Time, a 15-year longitudinal study of men and women in the second part of life. And you can see, like, right here from the very get-go, evidence suggests that in old age, women are lonelier than men. Gender differences in loneliness are often explained by gender differences in longevity, social status and loss, health and mobility, well-established predictors that may influence loneliness differently. So, this is a relatively recent one, only from 2023, that seems to suggest that not only are women experiencing about equal levels of loneliness to men, but that as they get older, not even that much older, as early as just their 50s, which honestly is not that old, it gets worse. It just gets worse for women. And we have to ask ourselves, is that a skill issue? Is that because women are incels? What is it? You know? We've got this other one, also from Pew Research Center. Men, women, and social connections. Roughly equal shares of US men and women say they're often lonely. Women are more likely to reach out to a wider network for emotional support. So this is also pretty interesting. And then the final one that I want to show you guys, if you guys want to reference any of these, is this study. Where do I want to go? I want to go back to page 28 for what I'm looking for. This is Manchester, University of Manchester, gender differences in loneliness. And when we scroll on down to the conclusion on page 28, to conclude, our review into gender differences in loneliness covered 39 years of research, older than a lot of you guys, including samples with various socioeconomic, ethnic minority/majority, and clinical status from 45 countries. This is a pretty significant range here. Overall, we did not find strong evidence for gender differences in loneliness, suggesting that males and females are more alike than they are different on self-reported loneliness. This means that even with women straight up telling on themselves, they're not claiming to be any less lonely than men. And here's the interesting part of this, and something that I think is really necessary to consider, is that women keep yelling at men and saying, you guys need to do the legwork. You need to keep putting yourself out there. You guys need to keep facing more rejection, and you guys need to work harder to find us, while simultaneously proving with their own behavior and self-reports that when they try harder, they're not getting less lonely. So they're making a really poor case to men that they should keep putting themselves out there if it's going to have the same results, unfortunately. And that's the depressing part. Now, the reality is, I need you guys to understand, of course, I don't think that refusing to put yourself out there is the best way to go, because you're going to be just as lonely anyway. If you really look at it, what's likely is that the women who put themselves out the most end up less lonely. But overall, loneliness is prevalent. There's a lot of factors and things to consider here too. I think that one of the biggest ones is that even when women have friendships, it's not a full supplement for that romantic companionship and love that I think a lot of people truly seek. There's a lot to be said for people who are like, just learn to love yourself and then you'll never need a man. Like, that's great to love yourself. I think you should love yourself. I think you should absolutely build a community of strong women. But we're bullshitting ourselves if we're gonna lie and cope and say that's a replacement for being with the type of person that your body craves. Let's be honest, most of these women who go on these tirades about how much they hate men are sexually attracted to men, romantically attracted to men. And for whatever reason, even if they don't want their bodies to feel that way, something inside craves that. That's just most of us. No offense to the gays, the asexuals at all. You guys have your place in the world. You don't need to be straight or have sex to be valid, just like single people don't need to be in a relationship to be valid. But the fact of the matter is, it's very foolhardy to double, triple, and quadruple down on this mentality of, I don't need to go out and talk to the opposite sex. I don't need to do that. It's their job, no matter who you are. Because at the end of the day, we do need each other. At the end of the day, there is something about this opposite sex that we don't fully understand, but we do know deep down something in us craves their presence. And especially for women, can we just stop pretending that we don't crave men? Can we just be so freaking for real? We're not cool girls like that. We don't have it together like that. Okay? Giving very Lysistrata vibes, but no. It is not true that women are just so easily able to waltz around and never need men. We don't want their cuddles. We don't want their snuggles. We don't want their forehead kisses. Yes, we do. And I'm sick of pretending we don't. I'm sick of pretending that that is not what we crave and equally yearn for as they do us. I'm sick of pretending that we as women should be embarrassed or ashamed or humiliated by wanting a man. That is not something that, like, the goal should not be to get to a point where we have become so successfully antisocial that we're able to brag about not needing each other. That's ridiculous and just not humanly possible. I'm sorry. This goal that so many of us want to achieve of, like, I can do it all by myself and I don't need anybody. Bullshit. Yes, you do. Not having fun that I'm calling you out now, huh? The rest of the earlier part of this live was a lot more fun when I wasn't looking you dead in the eyes and calling you out for pretending like you don't need to ask for help. Yes, you do. I got you clocked. You are tagged in this photo, whether you like it or not. You need to ask for help just like everyone else, including from the gender that you were not assigned at birth, including from whoever the other guys is that you're scared of, has hurt you in the past, that you don't fully understand and probably never will. You still need them. Sucks, don't it? And yet, we're so fucking lonely without each other, dog. We hate it. None of us like this. We hate that we're not talking to each other. We hate that we won't approach each other. We hate that we keep telling each other that the solution to not talking to each other is to just keep not talking to each other. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, y'all? Why are we doing this? Very, very silly, y'all. Very silly of us. But what do you guys think about what we've discussed, presented, and the data that has, I was going to say been presented, but I don't want to be redundant, and yet I can't think of a synonym for some reason. What do you guys think of this shit? Did you know about a lot of this data as it pertains to female and male loneliness? Do you buy into any of this data, or do you have your doubts with everything that I presented? Are you actively looking into alternate data that might actually put some claims to rest, might actually debunk some other claims. What do you think about the data as it was presented? And was your understanding of these loneliness epidemics before that it was only a male thing? Did you think a lot like TJ that it was specifically in relation to romantic and dating, and that you are a little bit surprised to find out that it's mostly just about friends, that men and women actually aren't having the hardest time romantically finding each other as people think? It's the extended friendships that they struggle with. And to be honest with you guys, I have my own theory on that. And I think that my theory on it has nothing to do with gender, but about humans' predisposition to taking each other for granted. And I think that we're able to maintain romantic relationships easier than platonic relationships is because there are so many overlapping elements of domestic reliability that you have on each other. You guys kind of, in a way, it becomes a lot more organically transactional between a romantic partner. With your friends, you usually don't keep track of things as tit for tat as you do in a long-term marriage. You don't typically have to discuss how to split bills, how to split chores, things like that. And any of you who have ever moved in and become roommates with someone who was previously your friends know that that dynamic completely changes the relationship. If you've ever just been friends with someone and then switched to roommates, you quickly find out things change. Things become very different very fast when you have that type of situation. And it's very normal, I think, to hunker down and lock in your priorities to your closest circle, who you're living with, who you're dating, who you're married to. Friendships can be harder, though, especially as you get older, because you're all locking in on home, that quick, closest unit. And unless your friends are also your coworkers, you probably don't have very organic opportunities to see them day to day. And it's not necessarily that any of us have ill intentions, are antisocial on purpose, that we just suck and have skill issues. I think a lot of it is both just the natural development of life and locking in on what's closest to you versus, I guess I called it taking advantage of people before, but a lot of it is that we kind of hope in a lot of ways that we'll just be able to pick up where we left off. And I feel like the best kinds of friendships always have that door open. Personally, some people do need a little bit more watering, though. And a lot of us do need to learn how to water our friendships a little bit better. As we get older, I think that we all need to naturally understand we probably won't be able to do like weekly or, God forbid, daily check-ins with each other. But like, we can't just ignore our friends for weeks to months, especially because some of us end up going through that we can't necessarily talk to our closest circle about because we've already burdened them so much and we've already exhausted their perspective on it and we need a fresh one. And you never know when reaching out to your friend who you haven't seen or talked to in a while is like the life raft, where they're like, oh, am I glad to hear from camera dying from you. Let me change the battery before I finish off today's stream. Our topic today. And moreover, while we can speculate all of the different reasons that go into growing trends in loneliness and thinning of tight communities, it's important to remember Hanlon's razor in all of this. And hopefully it's a little bit easier to empathize with growing loneliness epidemics when we see the data and we see that this is affecting absolutely everybody and nobody likes it. That we have to also stay intellectually consistent. If we're going to point to lonely men and give them the old Ralph from Simpsons, ha ha, you're a incel, loser, antisocial dork with skill issues, then unfortunately you're going to have to also point to the lonely women and do the same thing. And something tells me that a lot of people won't feel comfortable doing that to a woman. Even though, in a lot of ways, it's the same situation. When we examine these epidemics on a small social media scale versus a large 39-year study across 45 different countries, it's hard to argue that it's either of our faults. It's also hard to refuse taking accountability that maybe our own behaviors and biases are pushing people away, and it's not just that they're not coming to us when we're being such a warm, welcoming beacon. Maybe we're a little bit more off-putting than we think. What do you guys think? Have you learned a little bit from this stream when it comes to the data, the social implications, the social zeitgeist understanding of it all? Do you think that not much is really going to change, that this data has been widely available and people will still always choose to just blame men? Or do you think that it's fair to treat these things differently? That you can say that, sure, we might both be experiencing the same loneliness, but it doesn't disprove that it is men's fault and that it's because men aren't acting right. That it's not that women don't want good men, it's just that men refuse to be good men. Do you think it's a little bit of a mix of all of those things? What do you guys think? We're going to start wrapping up the stream for now. So I'm going to be more focused on the chat, so you don't necessarily have to worry about super chatting in these final 15 or so as I read the chats here. I want to know what you guys think here. Let me scroll up a little bit. Oh, is it Nelson, not Ralph? Wow, you guys caught me on that one. Oh yeah, Ralph is the one getting ha-ha. Ralph is the I'm in danger one. My bad, guys. Don't pick me for your Simpsons trivia team. That's for sure. Ooh, I definitely want to read this chat from Defiganile? That sounds right. Says, growing trends in loneliness is actually often due to the pushing of reactionary media. And if I had to be honest, I'm not hurt to see those same reactionary habits burn people who have them. Valid. As someone who can be reactive sometimes and does get burnt by it, it's true. We do need to stop and slow down in so many ways. And this is a lesson I've learned so many times as a creator, especially because there's so much pressure to constantly come out with new content, to be the first one to cover things, that there have been times I've gotten stuff wrong. And like sometimes it really sucks. Sometimes you do end up hurting people and you got to do some damage control. So I completely agree with you. Let's see. Some advice about therapy you guys are giving each other. Quantum Fantasy says TJ would though, because he's based like that. Aaron Burden, the movie made it even funnier when Bart was chained to the light post. His mom comes up and does it too. I gotta start watching Simpsons again. That is one show that has held up throughout all of time. Cillian says, yeah, at the end of the day, making fun of otherwise shitting on each other over this issue isn't gonna solve any of it. Agree. It's, you know what's crazy to me too is, have you guys seen this other theory that women have, that women are trying to push, is women are trying to say that the best woman you can get is a woman who hates men because you never have to worry about her cheating on you. that you should feel special and prized because she chose you even though she hates men. This is a very common take. If you search for this, you will find it in TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere that a video can be uploaded. You will find this take. It doesn't survive the gender swap. Sure don't. And a lot of people argue that's because men and women are different. That's because misandry doesn't really exist, but misogyny does because misandry isn't systematic. That's their argument. I'm just telling you, it doesn't survive the gender swap. And if you want to make arguments as to, but it's different, you can, but I'm telling you that if a man was like, the real man that you want for yourself is a man who hates women. Because you don't have to worry about him cheating on you, or at least not loving or actually respecting the woman he cheats on you with. You know, it means that you're special and you're different from the other girls. Do you think the women would like that? I don't. I do not. SVR with another great comment. It's not about whose fault it is. It's about taking ownership for your social connections and your happiness. Speaking of based. Quantum Fantasy says, could it be possible by the government mandated social stunting? A lot of people have that conspiracy. The ghost is my social life. Oh no. Brian or Elena. Hey, but so everyone has seen the statistics predicted by 2030, right, of childless women. So if we are in this sort of trajectory right now, is this not a done deal because it's just 4 years away now? There's a lot of people freaking out about the birth rates declining. I'm gonna be honest, I don't fully understand the socioeconomic impact that has. Someone would have to like probably email me, lauren@dadvocate.net, if there's like a good, quick, like fairly quick, like 30 to 45 minute synopsis on someone like really breaking down how the declining birth rate like will damage society and like why we necessarily need to be making a bunch of kids. Because like I'm also of the belief that like if you're in poverty and you're struggling, I don't think you should be getting pressured to have kids. I think we need to be working more on supporting middle class families, the working class, the proletariat, before we start demanding kids. Like, what was it they were suggesting? Like a $5,000 bonus for having a kid? That's nothing. That will cover nothing in the grand scheme of things. That's not enough to incentivize someone who's barely scraping by to have a kid. But we don't need to get into all of that. I just genuinely don't understand it. Let's see. Erigar, blaming someone else for your own loneliness is silly. I don't know, it could happen. There could be some reasons for it. Some people might like put you in a situation where like, I don't know, like imagine you agree to like move out and leave your family behind for your spouse, and then like a year after you left everything behind, sold everything, completely changed companies, you'll never get your old job back, your position's already been filled, your wife starts cheating on you with the pool guy, and then divorces you. Might be a lonely time. I'm not gonna lie, like when I first moved out here to be with my husband, like it was kind of a lonely time, and I definitely put myself out there and I like worked really hard to make friends, but it's not super easy, even when you're like a pretty extroverted person like me. It's not like you can just show up to places that, like, I don't know, adults aren't like little kids where you just walk up to the playground and you point to a kid and you're like, hey, let's play tag. Like, adults aren't really like that. But maybe I should start. Maybe we should just start doing that, honestly. Make adults weird again. That's my new thing. I'm gonna just start making merch. Like a purple hat. Because we can't use red now. Let's just make adults weird again. Did they ever get unweird? Punslinger, no! Not missing the entire stream. At least you got in at the very end. Oh, Aaron Burden, that's a great quote. A quick reaction is rarely a safe reaction. And then definitely let's all wish Doom for Zombies luck, working 12 p.m. to 9 a.m. I would not physically be able to do that. I would fall asleep at the job. I could not do that. Especially on my meds now that make me like super fatigued and drowsy and like often asleep by 9. Unless they make me cry all night, so I actually don't sleep at all. One or the other. One or the other. Okay, and this is a good nuanced take from That One Geek. Says, I think it might make sense to treat men and women's loneliness differently. There isn't a cultural pressure pushing stoicism and emotional repression on women in the same way there is on men. You know what they would say to you, though, right? You make an amazing, fantastic point that I love the nuanced conversation, but they would just say, well, that's men's fault. Men do that to themselves. And who created that system? Shiny says, I'm very lonely as a woman, but texting the people I like feels like pulling teeth. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm so with you. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to bother them. Even the ones who've told me a million times, you're never bothering me. Get over it. Face rejection. Look rejection in the face and manhandle it. I'm just catching up on y'all's super chats. Wait, what are you guys talking about, though? That sounds like crap. She's gonna hate you too. Oh, you guys are talking about the whole, you want a woman who hates men. I know! Ridiculous! Sorry, I'm just catching up on comments now. Yeah, it does not survive. I gotta catch up on the newer ones. Catch up to the new ones. Aaron, I literally have to remind myself to text my family members to catch up with them because I can go months without talking to them. Same. It's tough. Especially because it's like as you get older, your family only usually gets like bigger and bigger the more people are like getting married and adding on and having kids. And it's like almost impossible to remember all these kids' like birthdays and stuff. But we can't destroy ourselves with the guilt, you know? We can only do so much. Just Zero says, I'll help Japan with the population. Smug face. Get in there and Genghis Khan those people. And then, yeah, Matthew McNamee makes a very great point as well. I think we underestimate the effect the Don't Approach Women movement in the 2015-2016 years had on the teens who grew up into the 20-year-olds of today. Yeah, Me Too had good intentions and raised a lot of awareness for a lot of issues women face, but I think also led to a lot of the now very antisocial behavior in men who were like seeing a lot of guys go down without proper trial, you know, just absolutely presumed guilty, and it picked them up. Just like how like a lot of young men who grow up watching their dads go through disgusting divorces and custody battles, those are also a lot of the young men who grow up and don't want to date. Let's be honest, I think that's another hidden component we haven't even dredged up to talk about yet. But especially now that divorce is legal, which good, it should be. But now that divorce is very legal, very available, we're gonna see a lot more young men growing up, watching their parents grow through that shit, and on both ends. We're seeing women grow up in homes with their moms talking about, your dad ain't shit, and he abandoned this family, whether it's true or not. And then we're seeing young men growing up watching their dads fight to see them any more than 4 days a month, having to live in squalor because most of their paycheck goes to child support, wondering like, is it worth it? On both sides, you know, these daughters, these sons, they're like, do I want to actually like settle down and go through this, put kids through this? I don't know. The kind of hidden, long-lasting effects. The EDF Legacy says partly why I got so triggered by TJ. I understand why you did. Like I said, my husband, I think that sometimes he doesn't understand some of the privileges he does have. I think probably every single one of us have privileges that we're just completely oblivious to because usually we don't get to experience a ton of the benefits of those privileges, you know? Like TJ, for example, he's definitely had a lot of privileges, like I said, in this context, growing up with a lot of women to be socialized around, having a loving mother and a father with a strong relationship to set a strong example. But not everybody gets that. And that can be easy for him to forget sometimes, you know? What happened between TJ and EDF? Basically, before I wrangled in TJ and kind of introduced him to new information, TJ himself was kind of lost in the sauce on the take that any male who is lonely deserves it because they're not trying hard enough. And chat was like, bruh. Is essentially what happened there. Man, you guys have had such a fun, good, Socratic discussion today. This has been awesome. This has felt like a good college class investigating different topics. It's felt like a really good stream today. And not just because Mommy Shuan had absolutely graced my entire life, cured my depression, regulated my medication. Shiny Lynn says, is that what happened? Yeah, basically, that's the TLDR, yeah. I came in mid-argument. I mean, here's the thing. Like I said, it's really funny because a lot of people, they see that I can be a male-centric creator who discusses a lot of men's issues and fathers' rights issues. And a lot of people expect that I must have this very, like, red-pilled, alpha, Giga Chad, Andrew Tate-like conservative husband. But we're actually pretty different in a lot of ways. Not like in a million ways. Obviously, we're married. You know, we've been married for a long-ass time. But it is kind of funny because, like, even with his own father's rights issues, like, he was so pro-women that he almost, like, didn't realize, like, how freaking mistreated he was actually being. I was like, yeah, I know your son has a good mom. I understand that, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a good dad. So why are you tolerating this, like, bullshit schedule? And it was really nice too that when he finally got a lawyer, to hear the lawyer say the same thing, because TJ would be saying stuff like, well, this is kind of the schedule that, like, I've agreed to with her for so long, so I feel bad. And like, hearing the lawyer say to TJ, yeah, hey, just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean that it's not fucking stupid. And I was like, thank you, like, it's okay to be pro-women. It's not okay to let women gaslight you into thinking that you really aren't shit and should always put women above yourself and just crucify yourself in the name of women. Just, like, it's definitely okay for women to acknowledge that, like, yes, men deserve our help, but it's definitely never okay for women to, like, take their love of men so far that they're like, and that's why men are the superior species to women. Like, we can't just sacrifice ourselves in the name of appealing to the sex that we're trying to find as attractive. Like, we can't just do that. Because, and especially I think that men can fall victim to this because men are so shamed when they don't express clear feminist ideals. They're immediately seen as an enemy to all women. Whereas, like, I myself as a woman, if I say things like, oh, I just don't take men's issues as seriously as women's, I'm never going to be ostracized from society for that. I'll be congratulated, or at the very least people will be like, I completely understand, you know? But men can't just say things like, I don't take women's issues as seriously as men's issues. You can't just say that. I definitely wouldn't recommend you say that, guys. Don't say it. But we need reminders sometimes from the other side. Like, I've definitely needed it as well. Like, there have been some times where, like, even I'm a little bit lost in the sauce, and TJ's like, hey, like, you're a woman. Like, no one's expecting you to go out and, like, do all these things. Like, you don't have to be as tough as a man. I'm like, oh shit, thank you for reminding me of that, because it's really tough trying to be. uh was just watching the pickleball video. My wife and I love your content. Yes. I love when I get a couple together. That sounded very like that sounded very predatory. Not like that. All right. Last few comments, everybody, and then it's time for me to actually eat something and maybe take a mental health walk. I was thinking about filming some shorts. Maybe I still will. But I need to take a little stroll. The shoe thing definitely cured me, but the brain fog is still ever present. Pterodactyl says, even Lauren had bad takes I disagree with, but we can disagree without hating each other afterwards. I agree, actually. Like, looking back, I've definitely regretted some takes I've had too. Roll for Chaos, thank you for the 5, says, my husband was exactly the same way with his oldest and ex. As a matter of fact, looking up stuff was how I found you on TikTok years ago. Yes, it's especially common with fathers, especially unmarried fathers who just start off non-custodial, is they're in survival mode. And I kind of get it, because you're thinking to yourself, like, if I don't do everything completely right, like, I have to walk on eggshells with this woman or she's gonna take my kid away. Probably a majority of dads kind of start off feeling that way, and you need some extra support to remind you, like, hey, you can stick up for yourself. You have rights. That's the toughest thing to tell men, and this is exactly why I felt the need to create this platform, is like, men actually do need to be reminded that they have rights. If you look at studies, one of the #1 reasons that men admit and report to not filing for custody is because they're convinced they won't win and that they don't have rights. If men become educated, then men become powerful. And that's a lot of what this platform's trying to do out here. Buttery God, thank you for another one. It's okay to have differences. I find it weird or cringe when couples 100% agree, but that's just me. Yeah, it does almost feel like that one of them has like an unhealthy power dynamic over the other, and you're almost like, which one of you has the pew-pew to the other one's head to be saying all this? Actually, I think you have a very valid point, Doom for Zombies. Doom for Zombies says, hot take. Personality and hygiene matters more in dating than looks or money. Yeah, actually, every self-report when it comes to that kind of thing agrees with you, actually. True. No, it's true. Women agree. They will take a broke dude who is charismatic and smells good over a rich guy who doesn't take care of himself and smells like ass and doesn't know how to talk to women. It's true. No, that's true. What? Men aren't powerful? Color me surprised. No, wait, what? What do you mean? I thought all men had all male privilege and it just expressly benefited from all society by simple proxy of having a dingle-dangle between their legs. I thought every single person with an XY chromosome was just net winning in society. That's what the women tell me. Okay. I think that's about it for now. Let's tentatively look forward to the Wednesday schedule. If I need to, I'll let you know, and at least this was probably some fair enough warning that there won't be a Wednesday live, but it's a hard maybe. Today's stream was awesome and definitely helped fulfill a spot in my soul, but don't worry, I am not going to let this make me overconfident. I know that I still need to address difficulties with my medication with my doctor, as I recommend every single one of you does. Seek support if there is any single part of your mental health that is starting to decline, that is starting to not feel great, especially if you're starting to isolate. if you're starting to have thoughts of like, I don't want to be a burden to anybody, it's going to be too expensive for me to seek help, I don't want to bother anybody in the middle of the night, that's exactly when you need to bother somebody. Is when you are at, and I hope that you think about this, and I hope that you remember my words, when you're at that point of like, this is bad, and there's so much that I need to work through, but I cannot bother anybody with this right now. Do it. No, you can. You can, because I can't tell you how many people I've talked to crying, carrying caskets, who would have so much rather been bothered than have to carry that casket, right? So just hear me out. I am not going to let the depression win today, okay? Gonna keep fighting it, no matter what, and you guys have to do the same. This is your internet mom speaking. Don't let me down. Reach out to your friends. This has been our big takeaway from this loneliness epidemic thing, is reach out to like 1 or 2 people that you have been thinking about, and you're like, they're freaking awesome, but we might have missed a couple birthdays. Reach out, tell them the Dadvocate said hey, and I will see you guys in the next one.